Happy Sunday, everybody. Happy Sunday.
Super Bowl Sunday.
Super Bowl Sunday. Yeah. The nice distraction from life. This is Tom Tabor.
Hi.
He's going to sit in with me tonight. He has an actual task,
Oh dear.
which is to keep me from going too far. Because what we're going to talk about, by the way, this is episode 5 of the Wide Awake in Babylon podcast. Probably should say that. No sponsors yet, but we do have a couple that I like to say. This episode tonight is brought to you by stupidity, because without it, corporations wouldn't be so wealthy, right?
That's true.
And
other things.
Yeah. I want to have some fun with this because I'm going to go into some things that are not so fun, and so for those of you on the outside of it, you might have fun with it. For those of you facing it, you might not have a smile. We'll see. We'll see how it all goes. Anyway, because tonight I want to talk about courage and fear in life, in what you consider to be a spiritual path, what we consider to be a spiritual path, in situations with people, and how all of that really affects us. And how does courage meet that fear? And how can we participate? Because, courage is not like a thing we hold. It's a thing you can either act out or you're not. It's going to be an action, right? I mean, it's not even the removal of fear. That's not courage. That's going home, drawing the shades and just watching TV and hiding, right? That's getting rid of fear, not living, right? But that not living is not conscious either. So courage is something that meets fear, right? So it's some aspect of yourself you're bringing to a situation, and to do that cognizantly, to do that consciously, to do that with will intact, to do that with intention, to do that with any kind of power, the power of your own dignity, that you're a human being worth living. And that no matter what any kind of member of society thinks about you, you still have that right. Right? And then, there's also the fears of we don't feel right. No matter what goes on, no matter who says anything to us, that fear that there's something intrinsically wrong with us inside. That anxiety that comes up, well, that's just fear. Right? I mean, and fear to me, it's like, okay, what is it? I mean, obviously it's a feeling and it shuts us down and it kind of makes us not be alive as much, maybe. But what is it? What is it that brings that to the surface? Is it that, and really, you think about it, it's the unknown, right? Or it's the unknown aspect of something that you are engaged in.
The imagination of what the future holds, typically for me. Right.
Like dreaming up the worst case scenario.
Always.
This could happen.
What if?
So you kind of wonder, well, how did that start in humanity? Because I know most people, really, that I've talked to over the years, I would have to say the bulk of them, whenever some, shit went down, they immediately were dreaming like the worst possible scenario for themselves. So there's a lot of fear in that imagination of what could be. And it's like, so how did this element of fear enter into the imagination? And like, what is fear? Fear to me, I think it's not knowing how to proceed in the world you're in. Right? Not being able to orientate yourself in a situation you find yourself in.
Not knowing or not being confident in how you're going to be.
Well, if you knew, knowing, and to me, it's like knowing and confidence seem to be the same thing.
Oh, okay.
That, well, yeah, but I don't mean the kind of knowing that, you can go share with someone else, that you can go tell them what you know. Not that kind of knowing. It's like a knowing inside that what you're in, what inside you is calling for something to come, or calling for a particular action.
Yeah.
Right. And let's see. So Yeah, I mean, it's hard. These things are very hard to talk about because, there's so much content in people.
Stories, yeah.
Yeah, these stories, and you could just take the stories out and just go for conceptual things. But knowing has to be a feeling inside and not something you're hoping is right. Not even something that you're saying to yourself feels right. Something that moves you so deeply that you can't not do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? That it's, and I don't mean like an obsession thing either, because there's also within that same realm obsession compulsion. You obsess about something long enough, you will do it. There is no way around that. So much energy is built up behind the dreaming up of the act that it just spills forward.
But it could be frantic rather than self-assured, because it's very mental.
Right.
And I'm thinking like energetically self-assured from a knowing place or something, like trying to be brave, but actually just knowing the right thing to do.
To me, it's like a force, a power that I think that when you feel it, it's you. It's the better you. And that knowing kind of sets you up to behave in such a way that it's almost like you're finding the right key to the situation you're in. It kind of unlocks it. Right? But in order to get to any place like that, where you can actually act from within, and really understand, where you're at, what's happening, fear has got to be removed because it's going to taint everything. So that imagination is dreaming up all that stuff has got to be dealt with. So fear is not knowing how to proceed or not knowing how to process the information coming in. It's not that the information itself is really all that scary, right? It's that they can't, it's an inability to figure out how to actually think right about something, or think in a way that, or be with it in a way that kind of gives them an opening to being able to solve a particular situation. Right. And I don't really, and once fear gets involved, and that imagination starts going, it's dreaming up all kinds of stories, right? And it could really obsess about one and force it into a reality and think something's happening that's not.
Yeah.
Right. And then with the fear of needing it to go a certain way and trying to avoid what the worst case scenario was, there's this frantic action around everything that doesn't really help at all. It just kind of exacerbates things, makes them worse, or it blows it up and then it all calms down to come around again. Right. So, and I think in order to really get to a place where you can dial into and really focus in on with intent and will, right, and awareness and really sharp consciousness and a real wanting to move forward, to really aim at things in the right way where, they kind of you flow with it instead of it being this jagged thing. Then, the process of getting rid of fear and the process of becoming, activating courage, that's like no small affair. But by any stretch, you'll find yourself in dangerous situations. If you're going to engage the world and actually live in it, it's no less dangerous than it was 1 billion years ago or 300,000 years ago. It's no less dangerous.
Yeah, just different.
The danger is different, right? To where, even if, people aren't butchering each other anymore, although,
depends where you are.
It seems like it's coming back, resurging a little, but just the psychological impact alone is it's like you're under it, there's nothing safe about thinking in this world. There's nothing safe about following anyone anywhere in this world. It just seems like everything is not really in balance enough to actually provide what it says it's there to provide. So there's no, you really can't rely on that for anything anymore. You know what I mean? Well, it is what it is. And, the fear running now is, should we going to blow ourselves to death? What's going to happen here?
Or just how's rent going to get paid next month is a big problem for a lot of folks.
Right. So, you kind of have to figure out, okay, if we're going to live this life and we're going to have well-being, energetic presence, we're going to have our wits about us, and we're going to have energy to face it, and we're going to have the energy to really, dial in this physical plane as much as can be possibly done, so you're not wasting energy trying to, spinning in muddy ruts through it. So you have the energy to actually have the fortitude to, back yourself up against all this onslaught of mishmashed information, misinformation, disinformation, this guy's opinion, that guy's opinion, all those things coming at us from every direction, whether it be from statism, government, corporations, religions, this group, that group, LG, all of them, just kind of throwing stuff in the mix as if that's something you ought to be thinking about. And so, and it's kind of interesting because fear is one of those things that I think in people, when it comes up, they want to be part of something that seems to kind of keep their fear from killing them or ruining them in some way.
Yeah.
But that fear is it blinds us to what we're actually getting involved in.
By countering something you see as evil, you may be joining something just as evil.
Yeah, or just going into something unconsciously because you're desperate.
Yeah.
You could find yourself in a place that you really don't want to be.
Right.
And so that's the other side of fear, right? Fear is, oh God. But, fear kind of manifests in a lot of ways. I mean, it can manifest as I don't want to be excluded from a group or society.
Sure.
I don't want to be outcast. I don't want people to look at me and have judgments about me that I wouldn't want to have about me.
I might lose my relationship.
Right.
That's a big one.
Yeah, I might lose my place at the bread line. Right. My seat at the table, all of that. It's like I might fall from grace. So that doesn't come from like really wanting to participate. That comes from a fear of not being allowed to, or not being strong enough to, or not being up to it. You know what I mean?
Of facing difficulties?
Well, of just of having well-being.
Yeah.
Fear, first thing it's going to look for is an answer to it, and the answer to it's going to be the group that agrees with you. Right? And that's your friends now, and you're all safe in that little bubble. But, we know. I mean, once you get above 50, you realize, those things, they were temporary fixes to problems that are going to go on long after those situations are over. Right? You're still going to have to, deal with this thing. So, for me, fear is like a distortion in the psyche. Where does it come from? I don't know. I can't say that, there's scientific, brain chemicals. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of that. But like in the universe, where does fear arrive from? And how does it get into a human being? When does it get into a human being? Where does it start? Right? I mean, really, where does it start? And what are its minions? Right. I mean, this is why you got to keep me on track, because this is going to get weird for
so far, so good for me.
So far, so good. just keep me. I don't get too far off track here. So to me, fear is like demons, basically.
And what are those?
I'm not really sure what they are. Don Juan, Carlos showed me them in a way that, when I say showed them to me, if anybody else was there, would they have seen it? Probably not. But they're like an entity, I guess you could say. What did Don Juan call them? Inorganic beings. And they come from someplace nobody really knows. Been around forever. And I think we see them as shadows. So like when you see the guy walking down the street, going, get off me. I mean, if you see it in a particular way, you'll see a shadow on him. There's something on him. Right. So I think they come in and I don't know. I mean, for me, my experience was as they come in when you're young. They come in when, you're a baby in the crib all by yourself. Right. There's been plenty of people who, have cameras in babies' rooms and it's like something came in there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't want to believe that. We don't want to think that, you know, we're being subjected to things on a regular basis that are not good for us. You know, do they have power though? Not so much. They exacerbate fear, and then, you know, once your life force goes to fear, that scrambles you, and then you have a big hole in your energy field, and it just drains out, and they just kind of lick it up like dogs, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it looks, and we'll get into it too as we go on. But I always saw, you know, when I was a kid, I remember I could see shadows. Hair on the back of my neck would stand up. You know, there was a lot of times where being around even my kids and other people's kids, there's something in my closet. You know, and is there something in their closet? Well, if you were to walk in and look in, there's nothing there. But on an energetic level, right? Because, you know, kids obviously haven't completely shut that down yet to pursue a manufactured identity that's going to be something in this world.
Right.
There's still kind of more feet in that world, right? So their eyes haven't gotten clouded by materials, by matter yet. If you can, you know. So they can pick up on things. So they can sense something there, standing there, free of its own accord, free of its own volition, just standing there, observing, but creating a fear response in the kid. Well, then, you know, and in our society, most of the time, I mean, your parent walks in the room, it's just your imagination. So the little jolt of fear they felt is now relegated to the imagination.
And what does that do?
Right. What does that do? So now the imagination, you've put this fear there, that you're imagining it, that it's not real. Right. And kind of like almost trained to not see it. Right. And then, but if there's any kind of, you know, and the fear responses from then on, how do we know that it's not feeding that? That maybe, I mean, I you know, in my experience through plant medicines, through spending time with Carlos and you know, the elders, the maestros, you know, just sitting in their ceremonies, you look up, you can see them, but they don't really look to me like, you know, are demons. They're squiggly little worms, and they're everywhere. Right. And if you focus on one, it's like you're having a thought. So it's like thoughts floating around in the room, right? Like an energetic pattern that wants you to kind of associate with it to where it connects to you and gets into your energetic pattern. How would it do that? Through the mind, through the manufactured identity. I mean, I'm of the mind, and, you know, whether it makes me sound crazy or not, I'm of the mind they've been influencing this society for a very long time.
I agree.
Very, very long time. I mean, have we gotten a grip on what any of that is? In the West? No, not at all. But if you go down to the jungle, you go spend time in Mexico, not everywhere in Mexico, obviously. You know, every country's getting a little messed up. But there's those places you can go where they're really well versed in what these things are. So, like, you know, here we have something and we call it an ailment. Right? And we get a diagnosis. Well, you go down there and they'll say, oh, no, that's an attack. You're being attacked by an evil spirit. Well, spirit's energy. You know, I mean, it's only the closest way you can really define it. It's an energy. So it's an energy with spikes on it. Right. Much like you get a virus, it's pretty much the same thing. It's an energetic virus, but it's energetic, right? And what it does is it lodges into you and feeds off you. Well, when it feeds off you, it's pulling energy outside of you. Where is it sending that to? You don't know. I mean, if it's an organic being, you know, you'd have to be pretty, well, you will have to have cleared your conscious screen of all your personal stuff well enough to be able to see what's actually out in front of you. Because when you put those personal screens on it and you write stories around all that, you're just obscuring what any of that is. I mean, that's all that's really going on. You're obscuring reality, so you're representing it or re-representing it. So this thing that you're engaging the world with can actually handle it. You know what I mean? It's almost like reality is huge beyond what any of us are experiencing, right? We decide through how much of our fear we've let go of, by how much of that identity based in fear we let go of, and how to realize that the manufactured identity was created out of fear. We may say, no, it was sadness. Fear, the misunderstanding of where life's taking you. That's really, to me, where it goes. Because if you didn't misunderstand and you followed it as it was meant to be, it probably leads to greener pastures instead of destruction. Right? But to spend a whole life trying to just put out the fire of fear, everything burns. Inevitably, it all burns anyway. Because you're frantic. Right? You're just
that one.
Yeah. And what does fear do? You got a forest that's loading up with you basically become that. You become this thing with so much dead wood, you burn. You burn with it. And I think it does a lot of psychological damage.
Right.
I think fear actually is like an energetic rupturing of the brain. Terrible, even in the solar plexus. It's almost like, like this energetic frequency that gets in, and it associates with some part of your body, and just, and it's almost like too much. Just a concentration of energy that should be being spread out through the body, purged out through the organs, but just held on.
And if you hold it there too long, that's how cancer develops, I think.
I've always thought that what cancer actually is some aspect of the life that is not being brought into balance. And it's being actually taken so far out of balance to the extreme that it resides somewhere in the energy field. And if you look at the body, it's just a projection of an energetic mandala, and this is just a representation of it that you're walking around with. Whatever whatever little obscure things are going on in there is going to show in the body.
Yeah.
Right. So it comes through as, a cancerous tumor, but it's inevitably in the energy field.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I do, actually. And I think for me that the demon thing seems like thought form seems the way I can best put it in my thing, but if it's more than just thought, it's energetic too. And so like in plant medicines, that purge is like, I can actually sense, like I'm asking, okay, what is this thing? And as it purges, like, there's that thing. And some of it's my own fault, and some of it's things that just happened.
Well, yeah, the things that are your fault are obviously things that you did in situations where, if you look at a fault, like it was my fault, no one says that about good things. Well, that good thing that happened? Yeah, that was my fault. Yeah.
Kim Sanders does, but she's funny.
But, so most of the time when someone says it's their fault, it's like, yeah, that's apparently a negative thing. But again, you to really look deeply is where the fault come from. And to not get lazy about thinking like that. And that, to me, that's where really courage sets in. Because courage, to counter fear, you have to face it.
Yeah.
Full on.
Yeah. There's no other way.
And you can't face it timidly.
No.
And you can't face it nonchalantly.
Nope.
You can't face it lacking seriousness. Right?
It seems easiest to have some help with that, in my experience. Like facing it on my own has been really, really challenging. But having people that could guide me to it has been really, really useful.
Just go, we're on the mountain. Yes, it's standing in front of us. Move on. Thou shalt not stop me. But that's what we do up here.
It is
extreme, push that identity to the brink where it just pops. To me, should I ask for forgiveness for that? I
don't.
I'm one of those. Yeah. It's like because, I've wrestled with my really, in all honesty, the reason I do that is because inevitably when you're going to go to help someone else, you got to bring what worked for you. You can't read about some process and then bring it forward and make it your own and then teach it. It kind of has to come from
a dark path.
Right. Yeah. But if it's going to be something genuine you can help people with, then it's going to have to be the way you took. And then you're going to have to be the kind of person that can maybe distill that down, not so it loses potency necessarily to appeal to everyone.
No.
But to make it more universal.
Right. And you do a good
still
job with that.
Punch, huh?
You do a really good job with that.
Yeah.
All my stuff's like just my own personal stuff. I don't have this universal thing.
But just punching that stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And, so the way that worked for me was like supreme courage. facing harshness completely, not ever trying to, smooth out the wrinkles. Let it wrinkle more. Let it wrinkle more. No, let this get out of hand. Let this get out of hand. Let's see where this goes when I'm not trying to influence it because I don't like where it's going. Right? So the courage is to face fear. And the fear is always going to be, I don't want this to happen. But there's a whole lot of things you don't want to, that not you necessarily, but you know what I mean, that people don't want to have happen that need to happen.
Right.
I mean, I've had lots of that, and it's the fighting against it and having the courage to go through like the suffering of not being able to, make your moves and just crush the identity. Right. And then, it's like it falls apart, but there's a you there that's pristine, and it's almost like courage is just a daily affair. It's not so when you break the shell of that identity, the thing that's telling you what the world is and getting on your nerves and gets involved in things it doesn't want to, makes plans it doesn't want to carry out, right? Sets up deals that it doesn't want to do, all that one. Once that's gone and all the head talk and all the fear in it is gone, there's a person standing there that courage is not something that they have to consider having, using, or even accessing. That state is courage itself. Right? Because it ultimately understands life. And fear is just the misunderstanding of life. So it can meet it.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, we need to have courage. Having courage is not worrying about what's going to happen. Having courage is embracing what's happening.
Right.
And not even bothering with the imagination, dreaming up something when there's no premise for it to begin with. The premise is the present.
Yeah.
Right? And to allow all of your energy to be there, that creates an awareness. And really, I think, for me, what it also creates, my ripe age, a sense of seeing a pathway to peace, where there's sacrifices to be made, but those sacrifices are more of a joyful thing for me. Because all I'm ever having to really sacrifice, if I'm going to try to be that one inside of me, that is courage itself, is my personal desire for an outcome, for a thing.
Right? A certain way.
And it doesn't mean don't have appreciation.
Right.
I appreciate everything I have. I appreciate the coffee in this cup. I appreciate some pacho I might be smoking here in a bit. You know what I mean? I appreciate.
Yeah.
But to not have like an ultimate need that I would willingly sacrifice whatever the personal comforts are for a better situation.
Right.
It's no.
If I don't get it my way, I'm not happy. So you'll never be happy because you're never going to get anything your way.
Yeah. So the only thing I'm ever really having to sacrifice is my personal desire, which to me it's like living with personal desire for so long, it doesn't get you anywhere. It really doesn't. Because it's a thought, wanting a new thought, wanting a thought to make this thought brighter. It just is this kind of like patterning that doesn't really come into fruition inside of action.
Right. It's living an if-then life. If this, then this.
Yeah,
other than just is.
Yeah, and wanting to know what's going to happen before you engage.
Right. I don't want to take this chance unless I know how it's going to come
Well,
out.
And you think about that. It's like, well, I don't really want to do that unless I know what it entails. You're alive. You know what that entails? Do you realize that when you say something like that, this is where I'm going to start to get judgy.
Go for it.
Okay, judgy. But I wonder if people realize when you talk like that, what you're actually saying is you're not comfortable being alive. Because if you don't want to do anything unless you know where we're going, what it's going to be, and how it's going to be, or you're not going, well, then you're not living, are you? Because life is that.
Yeah.
It's more of that than anything else.
It's like a game you're playing that you already know the outcome. What a boring ass game that is.
Well, yeah, and that outcome is only assured as long as the systems that you're relying on remain intact, in place, with integrity, and not falling apart, full of holes, and ready to crumble. Because look at our society. It's this I mean, it was funny because, working at jobs all over the city of Denver and Boulder and that area, I would always say, we'd be in a truck with a bunch of dudes. We're going to go do some construction job. This is a long time ago. I'm like, this is the market. They like, what do you suppose the market is? They want to understand. Like, I'm like, you're in it. This is it. It's traffic. It's all that human activity. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
But what is anybody getting out of this? And I would question these guys and ask. And it was interesting because it kept them from just talking about girls and who they want to bang and how many beers they had last night or what their team's doing. I'm not interested in any of that. Mm-hmm. Right? I am interested in human beings, human behavior, how we got into this mess. That it's a mess. How we get even inside, it's a mess. How we get out of that mess, and then what's the trajectory and what's the pathway forward. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily dreaming up a future. If you don't know where you are in the present,
I suppose.
If you don't really know where you are in the present, though, dreaming up the future is kind of a stupid thing to do.
Okay.
Maybe you should get a solid foundation dream from there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So, and I kind of think, and I've always thought this since I was a child, when I finally, and I started seeing things, I'm like, there's taboo things you're not allowed to talk about. At least growing up back then. Now, I mean, yeah, we can talk about it. I mean, people can talk about anything. But back then, in the 70s, it's like certain things were just kind of kept under the covers.
Okay.
Right? And I would ask these really bizarre questions,
Such
especially Sunday school. Yeah, I mean, just the whole thing, it's like, So, I remember I was like 10 or 11. I'm at Bible camp or something, churchy thing anyway. And the guy asked, he's talking to me. And I said, can I ask you a question? He's like, yeah. I'm like, so Jesus forgives sins. Is that the ones before or the ones you're doing now? Right? Because, I knew some things about him and his family. Right?
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. I mean, you actually got to see who they were daily.
Yeah.
I'm like, and he just kind of looks at me, right? I'm like, no, seriously, I want to know, are you forgiven for what you did say 3 days ago? Yeah, and it's like blank, like a deer in the headlights, right? And it's like, so what you're trying to do is formulate some kind of conceptual fortress that you can hide inside of, and then all that stuff just keeps people from actually reaching you. Right? But is that a king in a castle, or is that a prisoner in a fortress?
Those are the same thing in my book, actually.
Right. Really, they are the same thing. So it's like we have this existential fear. There's no doubt about it. That underneath all the human activity, to take it all away, people would probably flip out. Because
no
one really knows what they are. No one really knows what's going on. Nobody.
Nobody knows where we are or when we are either.
Yeah. I mean, conceptually, yeah, we can say that.
We can say.
To feel that is intense. Carlos would force that feeling upon you.
Yeah.
You don't even know who you are, Cristobal, let alone what you are. Where are you? And hitting me with this energetic presence that would, I felt that. I felt, oh my God, I have no point of orientation that isn't socially programmed into me. Right? I have no identity that hasn't, other than the one that's been socially programmed. And that's the power Carlos had. You want to talk about a powerful dude. He could basically, I wouldn't say erase it, because I had to deal with it after he died for a very long time, and I'm still dealing with some of it. It's a never-ending thing. But he had this ability to shut down. It wasn't you, and like put a freeze on a pattern, so you couldn't play with it. Right? So you kind of don't get to play with this wishy-washiness. So you actually had to feel what he was saying. That, Cristobal, you have no idea what's looking out of your eyeballs. No one does. You have no idea where that's looking from. No one does. You have no idea where that's coming from. No one does. We have no idea what its intent is. No one does. We don't know how long we're going to live. We don't know how long until we die. We don't know how long we're going to suffer, ever.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing we know. How does that feel? Man, it's like, you know, and he had such a way of doing it that it's like the rug came out from underneath your feet and the sky just got bigger than it was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just this little point in it, looking at all of it, going, shit,
Mm-hmm.
right? And your mind shuts down. You know, and it's interesting because there's a lot of fear there. I mean, I was terrified because, you know, just I'm feeling the presence of all this terror of not knowing anything. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't know why the hell I do what I do. You know, that kind of thing. Just all of it, shaky. I shook for like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whenever Carlos was there, I just sat there because I was just a frazzled mess.
Right.
You know? And so, you know, destroying the manufactured identity's hold on you. You know, he basically could subdue the manufactured identity. No, you don't get to think your way through this when you're feeling this as reality. And, you know, that was terrifying. And in a lot of ways, it still is. Because, you know, what's behind all this manufacturing, all this programming, all this socialization, all this upbringing, all this life experience content is the infinite universe looking at your eyeballs. I can say that because no one can prove it's not true.
Well, that's convenient, but also doesn't make it not untrue.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if anybody who actually like, okay, you know, it's not like you have to think about it. You're sitting here, it's looking at you.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we're afraid of.
And
We're afraid of what that is, and the fact that this socialized being we've made can't come to terms with the not knowing that it all actually is. You get what I mean?
I do. And the way I feel, like, we're so disconnected from nature. If you go back 1,000 years, everybody was way closer to nature.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, well, there's some European things that are probably pretty city-ish, but we're so removed that disconnection is also the disconnection of who we are as an animal or as a being or as a presence. I don't know.
Well, that, and, you know, okay, so, you know, there's a creator, right? Made all, you know, you know, to me, if you're going to say creator, God, whatever, I mean, you know, so there's the gods of mythology, there's the gods of conceptual reality, you know, we got all those. I mean, to me, it's like, is it really a bad move to say that what's looking out of everybody's eyeballs and that which is alive in everything all combined is God? Now, and you would have to kind of include the air around you too, because if you stop breathing, you're dead. So there's life in the air too, right? So it's kind of everywhere. It's not like, and it, to me, it's like it's self-evident. The fact that you're alive makes it kind of self-evident that there's a presence animating a body. You're perceiving a reality. That's called being alive, right? So where'd that come from?
Some people say, well, it's just chance. But what a big chance.
Yeah, I don't think people like that. I mean, even, you know, that this is all random. Yeah, you're thinking too much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, so the world of rationality, well, that's the one we made.
Mm-hmm.
That's our parameters. That's our corral, basically. If you, like we were talking about,
I
right?
know.
Okay,
That corral arose suddenly within the conversation. I never heard corral before.
Yeah. You know, it's like the corral of humanity is reason, and rationality, and, you know, tit for tat, and, you know, all that. It's all in there. But that does not limit what's around the corral at all, and that what's around the corral can be really irrational. Right? I mean, is there any rational? Well, so use rationality. What's the rationality of life? What's the rationality of a cosmos existing? I mean, really? It's like, so it's almost like, you know, and I think, you know, the more authoritarian we get, the more you can't use these words and we're going to be offended by words. You can't have these ideas, can't have those thoughts, you can't think that. They're basically going to lock you inside of one hemisphere of your brain. where it's just rationality, reason, and anything outside of that actually brings a human being to recognize he's human.
Yeah.
You know, whether that be a height or a deep low or anything in between. Whatever feeling's going to arise, it's going to cause him to wake up as a human being. I mean, to me, that's why I think we're under attack in a way that we don't understand at all, and just strip away all the content.
Mm-hmm.
Is this how an intelligent species acts?
We've entrusted a lot of power to people that shouldn't have it.
I think we've entrusted, ourselves to things that we don't even understand.
Yeah, even within our own beings, for sure.
Right. You know, it's like we act this way because it works, but we don't really know why we do it. And, you know, there's a lot of people that act a certain way to get what they want, and then they feel like shit when they get what they want because that goes against their well-being. Mm-hmm. Right? That inevitably what they're doing is trying to replace well-being, the feeling with like a magical thought that makes it all better. A magical identity that just kind of numbs you to pain. It's like, that is not a real way to go, you know, and facing pain, no identity can do that.
Face pain?
No.
Because it doesn't know the body.
No. Even when, you know, like you get two people together, just use a situation where, okay, this person's wrong to that person, and now they have to confess because this person actually knows. Right. And that, you put them together, right? That's a painful experience. I know, I've been in them. Those are painful experiences.
Yeah.
Right. But it's pain that, and you watch, if it's a pain that you can't face, here comes reasons why you did it, justifications. It wasn't my fault. This person did this to me. It starts coming from a place of victimhood. Mm-hmm. So it's like that thing inside of us that claims to be so got its shit together. Mm-hmm. It's also the first one to lay down when the shit hits the fan. Mm-hmm. To lay down, crawl, and play, poor me.
Instead of owning up.
Right? And the owning up is really removing the manufactured identity. So there's a little bit of courage that is on the part of a you that experiences the world that's tired of experiencing it this way. So, right? So that's where, I think that's really where the interplay between, you know, whatever we are is experiencing the world, whatever is animating the body, however that relationship's going on between the one that's talking in the microphone and having conversations to in the world and the one that's animating the body.
Yeah.
Right. To get that more on par. Well, sometimes, you know, the pain of that we're trying to run from by making excuses, it's a cracking of what's false about us. It's a way for us to really understand, you know, sometimes pain is what we remember. That, that was a painful experience. I don't want to go through that again. Right? So, because, you know, certain habits that we have, behavioral habits for sure, even if we drop them, they're coming back around again. It's not like you broke the cycle. You might have broke the pattern, but those cycles that created the pattern, I mean, they're part of the structures of our lives. You know what I mean? It's like we have no control over what's going to happen.
I mean, addressing those underlying things are more important than the behavior, because the behavior is born out of that thought or...
Right, and it's almost like the identity sees the cycles and doesn't like the way they go and wants to move them in its own direction. It's like, you realize you do that, you fuck up the whole cosmos. You can't do that. You don't get to do that. You don't get to just start manipulating the energies of even your surroundings. That's not cool at all. I don't think that's cool. I think, you know, trying to manipulate even a situation for you to get the maximum amount of benefit, I think that is serious bullshit on anyone's part. Mm-hmm. I don't want to play that game at all. I'm just no. I you know, I mean, obviously when people come around here, I mean, I dominate, I guess is a word you could use. I take up most of the airway.
You orate.
Yeah. I try to do it from a place where, hey, what I'm trying to do is speak to you in a way that keeps, you know, you interested in a way. But what it really is, it's like a gift of, do you see how you can take your dialogue and instead of hitting the floor with it and being all meh, that you could actually uplift yourself with your speech. Right? We could take this to heights. We can get really, really into some mystical states just by the conversations we're having. But it's, conceptually, that bores the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they're concepts, but try to keep the concept loose enough that other people can play with it. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, but and then what I've seen, because we've done a lot together, is that you're always reading the energy of the group in front of you, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 50. It's like feeling that, and then like speak into the energy that you see of the room, and then it's pertinent and it's always different, actually.
Yeah, I kind of see humanity as one thing.
Yeah, well, that's very enlightened.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, why do I feel this way? Because one of your members of your conglomerate called humanity is suffering, and you're going to feel that. I mean, and we're afraid of feeling that. That's why we ignore. I mean, humanity is terrified. That's why it ignores all its problems. I mean, so look at that. It's like, okay, so just something. It's not a good, fun topic. School shootings. When we were kids, I mean, I'm sure it happened. Everybody says, and this is here's one of the ways you can marginalize anybody to needing to really look at this problem. Oh, well, that's been going on forever. It's just now there's cameras and you see it. I'm like, so you've normalized it. That's not good. Then the second one is, it's it's like it's always been going on. But when I was a kid, no, that wasn't going on. School was a little more of a wholesome environment. I mean, there was
bullying.
there was bad behavior, but bad behavior was like flicking buggers on Jeannie Sue or some shit. I mean, it wasn't, this kid came in with a gun, and we never had any of that going on. And, and even growing up, I mean, even through high school, I mean, I maybe saw 2 or 3 fights, and, I graduated in 88. Now it's just like, it's gone a little sideways. So there's something going on, but we turn our heads away from that. Right? We don't want to look at, because it's happening more and more, right? I mean, it's more and more and more. We're neglecting the issue. We're not seeing how the more we use this society, the more we pile into it, and really we pile so much into it because we need to be absolutely distracted of the existential fear that we're responsible for the lives we're living. I mean, I think that's really what it comes down to. And not on some conceptual level or some level to marginalize. I mean, seriously. You are super responsible for everything you do here, and there are rules, and you better figure out what they are because, when that force that causes life to happen, because it's obviously something. I don't know what it is, but it's something. And that something obviously seems to have something that aligns with intent. Because otherwise things wouldn't move in cycles, would they?
No.
Right? They would just be random, right? It would actually be random.
There's too many patterns for that.
Exactly. So there's some intelligence in all this. And we can't see what that intelligence is. I mean, we can't even really acknowledge that intelligence. We can maybe witness it and feel it within ourselves on a personal level, but that's not something, you're not the whole light. It's like you're not the whole light, but you might be a spark of it. And that spark of it might recognize its spark and its origin. But it's not the fire.
It may have to get so bad in order before it can get better. Is one way this is all going down.
It seems that's the case.
Yeah.
It seems that's the case. Because, and to me, it's like once you're beyond fear, you can start to see some things in a different way. People, it sucks when people die. Absolutely. That isn't, I wouldn't wish that on anyone. I wouldn't wish a bunch of people die. I know that's not cool. And it's a human problem. More than is a natural problem, it's a human problem. Because there are ways of fortifying things in a way that you might be able to withstand this better than, even all the earth stuff. But so no one really wants to see a bunch of people die. But and it's funny because it's almost like these false starts can happen. A cataclysm happens in a place where no one gets along, and suddenly there's tragedy, and now everybody's in each other's homes, cooking bread with each other, seeing the familiarities between even different ethnic groups. Mm-hmm. This can happen.
It does.
It's like we get to that, and then we forget.
Yeah.
And then it comes apart again, and we all get real fractional. We all get real bubbly with inside of ourselves. We get real, protective of the identity once again. Mm-hmm. And then another one happens. It blasts that open, and you realize that we're all very vulnerable people, extremely naked. Mm-hmm. I can see why we're a little, nervous. All your organs are, the way you move in the world, your organs aren't underneath you. You're not protecting them. They're right here. Mm-hmm. You're just right here. Anybody can just, bam, you're done. Mm-hmm. You don't get, if they stab you in the back a little bit when you're a dog, all your major organs that make you live are still pretty functional. But when you're standing out like this, well, anyway.
Okay, yeah. Pull it in.
But yeah. We have vulnerability.
We do.
To us.
We do.
Right. And sure. Fear exacerbates the vulnerability and doesn't promote the strength, mm-hmm. right? And the strength to be able to go through like really hard things, right? Show you what the hard things are for, mm-hmm. right? And yeah, this world is it's intense. It's mm-hmm. not, I get it. We can marginalize it and we can pop culture ourselves to death and distract ourselves with all manners of things, but being alive here, fully like awake in the world alive, it's pretty intense. It's not really frightening, but it's intense.
Yeah.
And that as long as you don't try to manipulate it in any way, you're fine. But the minute you need things it's almost like you have to really stretch yourself out so that energy doesn't arrive as anxiety. Right. Anxiety is like trying to stay inside of a corral that's clearly time to blow apart.
Well, that's what I was going through last summer. I was on anxious ed. My heart was fluttering, and I was nervous, and took myself to the emergency room because I was so nervous, and then said, I got to go to the jungle, which we'd been many times, but I never sat in a tambo. And that was the thing, is like, what's my heart doing here? There's a physical part of it, but there's like this... And what I think we were talking about before is we were going, well, what's all that anxiety? Sometimes it's not even the content, it's just the quantity of things you feel coming at you, and that there's a sense of overwhelm. And so I was going through that, but sitting alone in the jungle in the tambo was awesome for me. And it was like, you'd see that maybe it's deprivation. All I had was rice and cucumbers and hard-boiled eggs sometimes. And yeah, it wasn't very much.
For a month.
But I was fine with it. Every day I was so grateful to have food, because I thought I was going to be like starving, and I always had plenty to eat. It just wasn't nourishing the body fully, but it was also cleansing the body. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And the biggest thing I faced there was fear. And I realized all this anxiety is fear. And it's all fear of the future. And I had a big task coming up that I was very, very afraid of. Like, I couldn't sleep. The second night I was there, I didn't sleep the entire night, because I was like, I'm so afraid to face that. And so I spent the whole month facing it and going through everything that would go wrong. Like, what's the worst, including death, including jail, including whatever bad thing could come out of that. Right. And got through it all. I said, I accept everything. I accept it all. I accept even death, and with grace, and had to clear my heart. And it came, and just being away from all the technology and all the bullshit and all the society, and being deeply in nature, just surrounded by it and appreciative of it. It's life-changing. Yeah. And also, I know that when I came back, I was like this glowing holy man sort of vibe going on with me, which isn't here right now. I'm doing okay, but I still got some anxieties that have come up, and I want to go back. Like I said, I want to do this every year, because I could really feel myself, like what you're talking about, right. Like feel yourself without all this, because like, oh, I'm really somebody special, and the jungle doesn't go very far.
Right.
Oh, I'm an executive. Oh, I'm something else. I'm really something else. And the jungle doesn't play well with the jungle. The jungle doesn't give a shit.
No.
It will eat your lunch. Mm-hmm. And that's a great thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I always, it's funny because you talk to people about, to go down and actually do those dietas with the plants. And so how was it? And, it's like, you can tell if they're being honest or not.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, you can tell. If there's not a tinge of holy shit in their voice, then what they're telling you is kind of a fairy tale.
Yeah.
And they're really not, and you could tell. So to me, that's, you went to the jungle, you did a dieta. Mm-hmm. How do you know whether that was successful or not? That the ramifications of the fear you had to go through are still reverberating within you, and not to make you afraid, to make you know how easy it is to lose your step, and to focus in a little deeper on paying attention to what's in front of you, where you're letting things get out of hand, why you're letting them get out of hand, and what thing you're unwilling to face that is arising inside of you.
Right.
And to me, it's, and I've been terrified more and more, going through the experiences of purging. This shit is terrifying. I don't care who you are.
Really?
Obviously, as you progress and you don't have as much, let's just say, as much of an affinity for things to go sideways.
I say not as much in my basement to clear
out. Right. The basement's cleared out. Yeah, that's nothing. But those first few, where you're realizing what it is you're actually up against. That to me, I don't know. I get it, like with ayahuasca, everybody's got a million reasons for doing it, and they do it in their particular schematic. I just went in, let's just do this. I don't, intention, schmention. Let's experience this. Let's see what this is doing. And those first couple of purges, like this is what you're actually dealing with. Fucking terrifying. Just sheer terror. It was okay for me. I didn't freak out and scream and yell. No, I sat there and I handled it. But, and really, without Carlos, that probably wouldn't have gone that way.
Well, I didn't have that.
Because he terrified the shit out of me on a regular basis, And, we talked about these things, but to be able to see them like that was like, that's really what made me understand that, I get what Don Juan calls flyers. I get what the evil spirits, I get what they're talking about. It's a very unpleasant, energetic pattern that invades not only your thoughts, it invades your body.
Yeah.
And it starts wrecking your energy and gets your, everything just malfunctioning, basically. And that is some creepy ass shit. And to see, like a representation visually of what that is. I get why people say reptilian. I see reptilians everywhere. It's like, well, they kind of have that. And, if our ancestors who wrote all these books about things were actually telling us the truth of their experience, there's a lot of reptilian shit in that.
Yeah.
You've got, some of them represent different things, but all over the world, you got two snakes. It's all part of their iconography.
I see the snakes not as demons, but as the healers, of course. But
they're also predators. You figure, if you have a small baby and a big snake, your baby's food.
Yes.
Your food, too.
And those shishubis in the jungle are scary.
Yeah. When something rears up and it's taller than you and looming over you, and it's a snake. Yeah. So at its bend, it's from where it bends and goes up, it's 6 feet tall. Right. That's something else. You're like, what the ever-living hell is that thing?
Glad I never experienced that, actually.
Yeah, and I think, in nature, obviously, that's the thing. But, that snake iconography, that lizard-like iconography is all through the past, too. Right? And so it's like, what were we actually dealing with? And seeing, in the visionary state of ceremonies, I saw them, all those visions were intense, battling those things. Right. And it's like, are you battling them? Well, in a visual state, in a visionary state, you are at it. You're going at it with it. But you feel it's more like, okay, so that's that. But the feeling inside is just like getting a pattern of really shitty behavior out of you. That's really all it really is.
And when it's out, you can feel the difference in your body.
Yeah. You feel the difference in your body, your mind, your soul.
Shit.
Yeah.
And you also reflect upon, or from my experience, that's all I've got, is how can I live my life that I don't fucking invite that ever in again? And then that's a place of integrity, and then that's a place of courage also. Like, oh shit, I don't want to fucking feel that way again. I don't want to be that person anymore. I want to be a different, better person.
Yeah, I mean, it's like with the ayahuasca, it's like integration. Oh, for me, that's been disintegration. That's really what it's been. These are the behaviors that, even though they are satisfying when whatever is acquired, whatever desire is met, the ramifications of that suck. Right? So that to recognize that what you're doing now and that you're getting benefit from is going to cause you to feel less than okay days later. Right? I mean, alcohol is one of those ones physically you can see. I drink too much, what happens to you? Yeah, you were you were free and on top of the world, and now you're alcohol poisoning, and you got a headache, and you're sick for days, and your bones hurt. Yeah, it's not puking all, dry heaving. And
drink a 6-pack, take ibuprofen in the morning, over and over. I did that.
So you kind of look at that as like, that's what's going on here.
Yeah.
So to me, courage is not like, if it's something that someone's going to seriously engage, it's going to be something. It's going to be like a soul recovery. It's going to be to me, it's like it's more courageous to sacrifice than it is to acquire.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
So where courage actually plays in the field of, an awakening process is the courage to sacrifice. Right. That's what I mean by disintegration. Ayahuasca, through going through those ceremonies, for me, it's more of a disintegration. It's a deconstructing what essentially is blocking the fullness of life. And, I mean, the idea of being outcasted or lonely because no one wants to know you. Of course, that hits everybody. How could it not? We're social creatures. I mean, you're nuts if you don't have someone to bounce off once in a while. Or your clan. We've had families for a reason. It's not like that's like something we came up with. I mean, that was happening. I mean, whether we took it seriously and actually participated as family and didn't just have a bunch of kids and throw them to whoever, that's a different thing. But I mean, humans are familial animals. They always will be. And I think consciously that soul within us is familial as well. And I think, individuated, this is, the idea of like, this is an individual trip to an extent. You die alone, but that extent dies, to the extent it does that is only as long as your identity that keeps you as something experiencing the world is there. Once that's gone, all difference is out the window. Any kind of idea about it's gone. It's like, can you be a person without having an idea of yourself?
That's a hard one.
Right?
That's almost impossible.
Well, what's a person? Is a person what you say you are?
No, certainly not.
Right? So what is that? What is the thing looking out of our eyeballs? Where is it looking from? Why is it here? What's it doing? What's its purpose? And how are you in the way of that as a human being?
And back to the basics of this breathing thing of multi-trillion cells. There's that thing too. Like, we are physically present here without even the brain happening. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's your thing. Or the mind happening, perhaps. The brain's fine. It's the mind that's the issue.
Well, the mind, it's like, what happens if you lose the mind as an instrument?
You experience a spiritual experience, I'm pretty sure.
But is there it's kind of like, maybe that's what we're afraid of in actually delving and really becoming what's living inside of us in its fullness without us getting in the way at all. No corral, basically.
Yeah.
Is we're not sure of what that is. And we're not sure of how we might be affected by said thing.
Yeah, it's how do you...
As if it's something to affect you and not you.
How do you do meditation right?
How do you do quiet? How do you silence right?
What are the 12 steps to that process exactly? And the mind wants that 12-step process to it. Or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, and to me it's like, okay, the manufactured identity is built out of fear. needing to have
Okay.
a point of orientation that really doesn't have to do with being alive. It's orientating itself in a society, in a particular, tribe, if you will, group, some kind of something. It's orientating itself there. How it's like, and that is like a surrogate experience, and it kind of puts a blanket over the fear of existential fear, because you feel like you've got a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But do you feel like you've got a purpose, or is, you know what I mean? It's like, how marginal is the purpose that is? Right? How strong, like, people get behind a career. And this is who I am. I'm this person in the world. Therefore, I don't have to think or feel into, what am I doing here? What is this life really all about? What in the hell is looking out of my eyeballs? And why is it having me do this? Why am I experiencing that?
I've had a cubicle job. I know what that's about.
So, it's like it keeps all that out.
Yeah.
And, maybe, and it's funny because maybe on some deep level, that's the whole purpose of our society. The entire purpose of our modern society and all of its gadgets and all of its toys and all of its clubs and sports and this and that and this and that, ad infinitum, you can pretty much get involved in absolutely anything anymore, is one giant distraction designed to keep us from figuring out underneath all that, well, maybe not figuring out is the word, that underneath all of that, there is a presence that we are completely terrified of.
Yeah.
That underneath all of this pseudo reasoning for being alive and what life is and blah, 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 even all the poetic artistic stuff, all of it, underneath all of this is, are we really, individually and as a species, okay with being alive? Are we really comfortable here?
Or okay with dying? I think that's the big existential thing, is like, it's all a cover up for not realizing we're going to die someday and what that's going to be like, and that we're responsible for what we've done.
Right.
I mean, to whatever, but to oneself, mostly.
Yeah, I mean, the fear of death definitely goes with,
I mean, it's what Don Juan talks about, is like, keep death as an advisor right here, because then it really
and I
clears
don't,
the slate as to what's
and I think
important.
possibly, because the fear of death is going to be psychological. Death is a process. It happens to everything. Yeah. Obviously, nothing that's lived here hasn't had to go through it at some point.
Goodness, in my book.
Yeah. So it's a thing. It's not like, it's a problem. We can get all weird about it, but it does happen. And it doesn't always happen so pleasantly. It's not like, oh, grandma went to bed and that was her last breath and she died in her sleep dreaming of daisies. Sometimes it's hit by a car. There's a gazillion ways to die. And, so it's like, I think some of the fear is the way we're going to go.
Yeah.
How much pain am I going to have to feel before I go?
Sure.
And the very thing that has the fear of death is the thing that should have the fear of death, because it is going to die. Right, because the identity it knows for sure that, well, if the life leaves that body, I'm dead. It's like, yeah.
My host dies, I die.
My host dies, I die. Exactly. The host, how do you know the host dies? You don't. The identity dies. But the host, the one, you get out of your car, walk away, there's no one in the car, right? It's the body.
Oh,
if you can see it, you look at it as a vehicle, you walk out of that. What's walking out of that? It ain't the identity. The identity is part of that. So especially if you're getting buried in your car, then the identity is what's died. But that identity is what's saying I'm alive, right? Running around, I'm alive. This thing that can't ever figure anything out and is running crazy and does all kinds of crazy shit trying to make itself shinier.
Successful. And
it's going to die. So it's like the identity itself has the fear of death. The thing that's actually living in the body doesn't think just because it parks the car for the final time that it's going to die.
Right.
When your car dies on the side of the road, you get out of it. and you go do something else, you're not in that car anymore. So like that body is, it's like, obviously that there's no proof of any of this in some, scientific or factual way. But I mean, if we really apply ourselves, we can see that, that's what's happening. That the body is animated by some presence that has energy, right? And keeps the body from rotting. And the minute that's gone, that thing falls apart. That could just be a vehicle, right? That this isn't actually, it represents you. And if you're fucked up and you fuck up the car, well, then the car's fucked up. Yeah, you know what I mean. You bump it into too many things, and not really good for it.
No.
So if the person inside, if the thing inside is not has the energy of integrity within it, well, then that whole ride could get real sideways, right? So it's like the thing. It's really hard to talk about again, because when I say you got to live the thing inside of you, people go, well, what if there's just darkness inside of me? It's like, well, you're the one calling it that. So the thing calling it shouldn't be the one to make the move.
Right.
The one naming what it is should not be the one to act. Right? Because it's doing the name. It's sitting in the stands. It's not on the field. What's on the field is what's actually alive. What's in the stands is the one that's saying what's happening. Right? And so it's like we could actually live our lives from almost like a energetic signaling more than a mental process.
Right. Like at the end of my life, I don't want it to be, I just thought my way through my whole life and I forgot to live it. And I do plenty of that still. I do plenty of just...
Well, to me, living it is going, okay, do we know what's about, like going to Peru? That to me is a lot like living. I think that's why travel is a big thing is, okay, we're going to go to Peru, we're going to go to the jungle. What to expect? I don't know. That right there, I don't know, but I trust myself enough, and I trust the people I'm going with enough that if some shit goes down, we got it. Let's go. Obviously, I don't like to take unnecessary risk, but that doesn't mean I don't like to take risk.
No.
I just don't like it to be unnecessary. Right? To me, that courage is that too, where fear will go run off a cliff. Courage, the kind of fortitude it brings, the kind of awareness it brings, the kind of settling of this wacky shit to react too quickly gets that out. You start to see the edges of things. You're like, all right. Because, courage knows when to stop. If you go up against what is truly the unknown, and there is no way to know, it knows. It has enough courage to let the unknown be the unknown. Right? And that, to me, that's just the courage of the soul, is to be absolutely in love with not knowing what is beyond the barrier of what it perceives in reality. And to know that that's what it's perceiving is not the whole of it, just where it's at. And that what's beyond that, who knows? But to be okay with that, that's the courage of a soul. The identity cannot have that courage. It basically will marginalize. Well, what difference does any of that make? What you guys are talking about doesn't affect my life at all. Right? That the mystery of life doesn't affect your life at all. Well, then you're embedded in society.
Yeah.
Really embedded in it, and putting on those Nikes is going to get you laid. Right? And that, you walk by your car and look at the lines like, it's someone like there's something special about this car. Well, yeah, when you're young, you do that. I remember I bought a Camaro when I was 18, and I remember we'd go to a restaurant. I'd make sure I'd park it to where I could sit and stare at it. Oh yeah. And just look at it and go, oh
shit.
Yeah, and after a while, it's like, especially after the clutch went out after 6 months. Brand new car.
I wonder why.
Yeah. And I'm like, And you start to see the futility of all this kind of distractionary, romantic kind of, it's kind of romantic. It's in a weird way. It's kind of, massaging the ego.
Wealth and prestige, being somebody big, important.
Ego massaging.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was just got back from Southern California. You want to talk about ego massage?
I know you weren't as angry this time. Usually.
I wasn't as tortured as I was when I came home alive. But
such a brief visit, though. Maybe that's why.
well, yeah, and such a brief visit, and the more time I spend up here and the less time I spend in cities,
Yeah.
the more when I go to the city, I want one thing: just get me out of here.
Yeah.
Because I'm not really interested in anything going on there. It's not that I think I'm better than it. I don't.
No.
I don't at all. I mean, in a lot of ways, taking the road I've taken, which takes you far outside of what society's norms are, takes you far outside of being accepted by the society in a lot of ways, and not really being able to participate in a way that, the businessman is, or you know what I mean?
Right.
People who are really well adapted to it. I've never been well adapted to that, to society. It's like, it's insane. You guys realize what you're doing. It's like, no, to me, it's insane. It's like, well, you need things. I live up here in the mountains. I get the things I need. Yeah, I go to the grocery store in town, and then I come home. I don't need to live a life inside of it.
And we're very lucky to have that as well. Not everyone does.
I don't think it's luck.
No?
I really don't. No,
Okay.
And to me, it's like, and I think courage, again, here, why it's such a strong thing. It guides you to the life that you ultimately want to have.
Well, because you've had almost nothing and still lived in nature many times, actually.
Me and, when we had kids.
Yeah.
I mean, Maya, my oldest, I mean, she was born in February. We were camping by May, right? I mean, she's only a few months old, and we did that for 5 years.
Yeah.
Obviously we go inside in the winter, but in the summer, yeah, we just lived outside. It was cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And that way you didn't have to miss out on too much, like food and, and a little adventure here and there. I mean, we were very adventurous people.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely, take our kids, go to a show, go here, go there, travel around a bunch. So, we want to have that freedom, and you don't get that with a mortgage and all that.
No.
And my mom, it was funny because my mom would go, so how are things? I'm like, good. So where are you living? I said, oh, we're camping on some land some friends of ours have. So you're homeless? I said, no, Mom. Homeless is under a bridge by Walmart. This is called camping. This is a whole different thing. And I mean, we had it set up. We had a kitchen, the whole deal. It wasn't like, we had, it was one of those.
It was rustic, but
it was rustic, but
serviceable.
Yeah, you got by, and we had dogs, so you didn't have to worry about things trying to eat you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were times where you come home and obviously a bear's been in there, but they're not. They don't tend to come in when you're not there.
Yeah,
more often than not.
We have bears here. I'm not worried about.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've living in the woods for 30 years. I've never carried a gun anywhere, and I have been deep in these woods, for days. Never have I carried a gun. Not a knife. Not a nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time I don't even have a backpack. It's just an energy bar and a bottle of water. It's like I don't want to carry a bunch of shit. It's why. And that's just how I've always done it, as simple as possible.
We differ.
My pack's light. The heaviest thing in it's water because I don't want to run out of that.
Yeah.
But I've never felt threatened.
No.
I mean, I've even run across animals and I still haven't felt like afraid of them.
Yeah, you had some encounter with something. I can't remember what. Like face to face, pretty intense thing.
When I was in Southern California before I left, and you got the mountains outside of Orange County.
Mm-hmm.
They call that Saddleback Mountains. When I lived there, there wasn't a bunch of neighborhoods up there yet. So there were still some big cats up there. As big as a California cat's going to get. Right. But a mountain lion.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
Yeah, I had one sitting right in front of me. Yeah. I was sitting there and I heard it and I look and it just was kind of in the trees. And then it walked out and started and just stared at me. And I'm just like frozen.
Mm-hmm.
And it sat down and it laid down. And I just sat there staring at it. I mean, that part of me was afraid. But, for me, part of me, there was something there that was like this intense connection that we were on par somehow. Mm-hmm. And that, I mean, respect's a word, but I felt like I was giving it massive respect and that it was giving it to me in exchange. Mm-hmm. So, and at the time, and still, I mean, I have a lot of connection in that way. I mean, to me, the animal spirits kind of realm, I've been in that for a long time. You know, I know that one. And it's not that I know it because I learned it from somebody. It's like, I don't know if it's ancestral, something, you know, that you carry with you. But yeah, it's a strong connection. You know, honestly, I've had it for a long time, you know, with all kinds of animals. And so, you know, sat down and he walked off and I walked off. But while I was sitting there, I mean, it was definitely a conscious shift. My consciousness felt elevated. And that's what kept me there. More than I was afraid I need to get out of here, I was really intrigued by the state I was sitting in because I felt more alive. Right. I felt more vibrant, more connected to life itself, and more in a not afraid or intimidated by nature as part of it. That I am as much here as that mountain lion is. Yeah. And I'm as much of a force to be reckoned with as it is.
Right.
And in my own way. So, you know, it kind of brought this, not an egoic, I'm somebody, but a presence inside that, you know, really, I mean, I was terrified as a kid because of the shit shadows coming after me, thoughts I didn't want to have. I mean, all that. Terrified. So my whole life's been, how do I get rid of fear? How do I stop being so afraid of anything? You know, like I know a lot of people who could not sit here and talk. They'd be too frightened to actually sit here and talk. You know, and that's not a fear for me.
Right.
You know, so it's easy for me to do. My fears, I mean, I had a fear of snakes is insane.
Yeah, I saw it in the jungle.
Yeah. You guys were playing with the anaconda. I'm like, yeah, you get that fucking thing away from me. You come near me, I'm going to punch you in the face.
Yeah, we have ayahuasca ceremonies where we participate in those.
I see,
yeah. Snakes are all everywhere.
Yes, they are. I'm not afraid of those. It's just something about... It's like, who chopped off your legs and made you crawl on the ground? What'd you do wrong? No, I'm kidding.
It's very judgy.
Now
you're being really judgy towards snakes.
Well, yeah. But there's...
Well, your point about the mountain lion, if you had an intense fear, that would have gone completely differently. And animals have that innate sense of sensing that energetic presence, what you're talking about. Like,
right.
I mean, Kaya, our dog, she gets it at a deep level. She knows what the hell's up energetically with stuff and isn't afraid to be the sheriff around here.
Right.
Because she sees what's going on.
Right. And I think it's a cohesion thing. It's not a, we all must do it the right way, or you must, we all must live this way. It's not a regimen. To me, it's an organic thing. And that, if we're going to sit around here and judge, well, you do this and you do that, and you're not quite cleanly enough, and you're not this, and it all needs to be orderly, you've lost the point. You have lost what the true narrative of life actually is. Because it's all going to be a little beyond your control. It's all going to be a little beyond your preference. Right? But there's like a potency in it that if you could just get rid of all this personal need to distract yourself with your preferences, there's like a whole other world going on here that you could jump into that's quite fascinating. Like, another experience with an animal, right? And it could have been terrifying. And I'm sitting there on this hillside and I start hearing this kind of flapping noise. And all of a sudden there's this eagle coming up behind my back and its tail feathers are hitting me.
Wow.
Right? And I'm thinking talons, right? That's what I'm thinking. And it's just sitting right above my head, flapping its wings. And I close my eyes and that thing takes off. I could see through it. I'm just sitting there in this completely, again, beyond the corral. An experience that if I were to let my identity into this ain't going well.
Yeah.
But that I had just allowed it, and it felt like dying in a lot of ways. It's like that lift is like, oh shit, what is that? Because you're feeling it, you definitely feel it happening. And just to breathe it in and go, this is life happening. And to disassociate from an identity that needs to have things a certain way and just allow life to do something. Like, obviously, something's happening here. This eagle's sitting there. And I think a lot of people could have these experiences. And I think a lot more would if they were patient, if they didn't marginalize so much, and if they could actually, get in an energetic place where they can recognize maybe how life is trying to speak to them through them, how it's kind of trying to influence them to merge with the one again. to be part of this whole life flow instead of part of this matrix that's imprisoning it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of forcing it into these marginal corners where you get to manage it. And, even a spiritual path. I mean, most of what I've seen out in the world, it's all marginal. It's easy to marginalize once it gets hard. A lot of people are, this is my purpose, I'm going to do this, and then 3 months of fucking off. And then back to my purpose, I'm going to do this, 3 months of fucking off. And then back, quit spinning your wheels. Maybe just admit to yourself, that's not your turn. It's not what you're about.
Yeah.
Because, what you're doing is what you're about. That's inevitably, whatever you're about is what you're actually doing.
That's hard to look at sometimes for some folks. I mean, but it's actually the reality. I know.
And social media is a perfect example of that, of presenting a world you don't actually live in.
Yeah.
Presenting this idea about yourself and meanwhile, you're broke. You can't pay your bills. You just got in a fight 10 minutes before you did your meditation video. I mean, it's like, I'm not saying that everybody's doing that, but the chances are pretty high that there's a whole lot of disturbances in that life.
That a presentation is a little bit better than the reality.
I don't think anyone's special enough to not have disturbance in their life.
Oh yeah.
Who's the special being that isn't being disturbed by life right now?
That doesn't have thoughts just going all the time in their head.
Inevitably. No.
If you're spiritual enough, you don't.
Mm-hmm. You don't actually, it's funny because how do I quiet my mind? Well, you don't actually silence the internal dialogue because it's dialogue.
Yeah.
If you can't turn off the TV, then it's just going to drone on. So it's not ignoring it, and it's not removing it, because you can't really do that. Because if you remove it, then you're also going to have to remove the one that notices it, which is you're going to need them to notice something else other than the noise. I think it's more like you discipline the one that has a need to fucking listen to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's also, and just my journey, there was a whole bunch of negative self-talk, and I suppose there still is sometimes. But just not putting up with it anymore, going, no fucking way. I'm not going to talk to myself. I wouldn't let anybody talk to my best friend that way, so why would I let me talk to me that way?
Right.
And so that reframe for me was super powerful. I was like, and I'd let them come up and like, not in my house.
Right.
Not in my damn house.
Right.
And it's only within my skull that this is all happening.
See, I think, that's why plant medicines are really, really popular right now, and I think they need to be. I mean, I don't think everyone should be doing it, obviously, but those that, are getting to the point where what's going on in here? Well, are you ready to see that?
Yeah.
And that's courage. I mean, inevitably, if there's going to be the identity having courage, it's tearing its own mask off. Right. But,
and possibly crumbling your entire world that you think's important to you.
Yeah. I mean, how many, people come in, we're happily married, and after one night of ceremony and they see why they're in that marriage, it's destroyed the next day.
It's also gone the other way too.
It's gone the other way. Yeah, a lot of healing, but a lot of dissolution too.
Yeah.
A lot of disintegrating.
Yeah.
To me, it's like healing is as much disintegrating as it is integrating.
Yeah.
Because in order to heal, you have to disintegrate your pain. That which is causing the illness in the first place. That has to be disintegrated, right? So if you think you're going to do all this integration while you haven't disintegrated what's causing the illness in the first place, you're just messing with yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's why all the integration coaching, it's like, and it's always from young people who've done a few ceremonies. Like, no, man, you need to, if you really want to do that, if you're going to really be an integration coach for ayahuasca, get your ass down to the jungle, get into the culture of it. Right? And humble yourself to like we do. Right? That's why they appreciate us. We don't go down as the average Westerner looking to be taken care of. Why is my healing not happening? None of that. We don't leave a mess, like when we're in the Maloka. That at the end, it's like, hey, let's clean up our mess so they don't have to. Yeah. To be as respectful as you can. And to be as, what's the word? I wouldn't say acquiescent, but I would. But I don't mean acquiesce to everything. But if they ask you to be quiet, you're quiet.
Oh, Lord.
If they tell you you're going on a hike, you get your ass up and you go on that hike.
Yeah.
That if they want to sit and talk to you, that you don't marginalize what they're saying, that you're there presently. You know, and but I think if you're going to be an integration coach and you're going to try to understand what this whole process actually is, because is it healing? Is it enlightening? Yes, but there's a whole aspect to it that's straight up battle. And, a warrior, it's a warrior's position. I mean, really, ayahuasca at some point, it's going to make a warrior out of you. It's going to have to. I mean, if you're truly going to liberate yourself from your ailments, you're going to have to be a warrior to that, because there's some aspects you're going to have to be really, really strict with yourself, if you will. Very disciplined to not engage in.
Right.
And that's going to be hard.
And they're habitual, typically, the things that you're trying not to do.
Right. So ayahuasca is not curing that.
No.
At all.
No.
I mean, is it taking away certain things and having you be able to purge and forgive? Sure. But does it change your daily activity? Not much.
I see it as it's a showing and a new knowing, and then you have to proceed from there on your own. And that's integration, is how do I walk each step of my life from here? And
disintegration would be, how do I walk with less chaos?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, I think well-being, energetic presence is congruent with not necessarily removing chaos, but being able to take that chaos and make it a livable experience. And not only a livable experience, a life experience that really is like the energy from it can create an evolution inside of you to push beyond the boundaries. Because, the corral is fear. Right? The corral that we make for ourselves, that is fear itself. That I can't contemplate anything beyond this. Well, I think humanity is being pushed. Yeah, we're going beyond the corral. That everything of the universe is going beyond this corral that we've blocked it into, because it's been in such a cyclical pattern that doesn't seem to be happening the same way anymore. Right? I mean, we could map cycles. But what happens when those cycles are bigger than us, and now we're in a part of it that no human being's ever seen before?
And what if the cycles are happening faster and faster and faster?
Right.
Which there's a good chance that's the case.
Right. And we're not going to be able to manage those.
Right.
We can only go with them, understand them, acquiesce to the intelligence of them, and that's it. There is no changing it. Right? So to me, I've always felt that humanity is, as a whole, is pushing through conscious barriers to access to more consciousness, which at a certain point, you're going to get beyond mental contemplation.
Right.
So what happens? I mean, maybe that's what we're afraid of, is our whole identity is really mentally constructed, psychologically constructed. What if we move beyond its ability to truly grasp what's in front of us? Fear would say you're fucked.
Right.
Courage would say there's a new way. And that new way is what we call evolution. There is a new way, but you must engage it. That it's going to come at you. The wave is going to come at you, and it will either be heaven or hell. You engage that, and you work with it, and you shift and you change. That will be heaven. You'll be going with the flow of life. You try to force that to stay what it's always been. You can't. In our society, look, I mean, the forces are pushing against it. Obviously, like the whole scene going on. I mean, does it seem nuts? Yeah, it's chaos. We're basically pulling in more chaos. Hey, to me, here's a positive way of looking at what's going on. We're pulling in so much chaos, and that the positive aspect of it is if we engage courage and we pay attention, that we can turn this chaos into a more vibrant life that is more allowing. That maybe does get to a place where war is not a thing. And hey, if you want to wear a dress and call yourself a girl, that's your business. You're gay, who cares?
Yeah.
You're just human. To push, so, some of that's extreme stuff, it's like extremities, but that's chaos. Chaos, and it's whether or not we want to balance that chaos out into order where it's not dangerous for anybody. And it doesn't need to be this crazy shit show all the time. That's just, I would even say normalize. That's a weird word too.
Yeah.
As part of the whole matrix of life itself.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And I think what you're saying is instead of approach, I mean, because you'll be shut down mentally trying to create control. I think control is another form of chaos. Like, I've got my life under complete control. It's like, oh, you're fucked now.
Well, it's almost like the intimidation of turning something into order is like chaos wanting to win by creating chaos out of order.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think, that if the order seems like it's too much responsibility for an identity in a person,
Okay.
that it will double down on chaos because it finds its strength in this kind of chance. You know what I mean?
I do. Yeah. But I can't handle what's going on, so I'll just let it be fucking disorderly or just out of control. But in that, I think the thing you're saying is the mental won't help, and the only thing I know that will is intuition. Well, and it's not like we haven't talked about that before.
Yeah, and intuition to me is energetic literacy.
All right.
I mean, it's
At its best.
Yeah, it's almost like understanding life as it's happening to you instead of after the fact.
Right. Being able to respond rather than...
Well, that, and look at most of our lives. I mean, shit happens. We don't understand why. And if we open ourselves to, healing, cleansing, whatever you want to call that, realistic ideas about ourselves, oh, okay, now it makes sense. Right? So it's like it doesn't make sense until it's over. So we don't understand life until after an event.
And sometimes that's when we get our greatest insights. Too.
Well, yeah.
I'm kind of slow.
But are there greater insights and greater progress in understanding life as it's happening?
Yeah.
Because the opportunities you realize you missed because you understand the event afterwards. What if you had the knowing and, or at least the energetic literacy to understand what's happening in the present? Well, there's opportunities there, not for advantage necessarily, but opportunities for growth for you, for others, for a situation to blossom, whatever, for you to push forward. That opportunity being open like that, you can take advantage of it.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And that'll suck for about everybody.
Well, yeah. But you could also, at the same time, go in there without this identity needing anything of it. Mm-hmm. And actually make something go right.
Yeah.
And what is that element? To me, that's courage. Courage is the ability to make order out of chaos. It's the ability to, be able to arrive at right action. Maybe through a lot of stumbling and bad behavior and a lot of lying to yourself, but eventually you get to that place where you're like, oh, shit, life isn't messy. I'm making it a mess. It ain't that guy's fault. It's mine. And if I'm going to get into some beef with somebody, who's making that important? Me.
Yeah.
And to really, so to me, it's like the soul will take responsibility for everything that's going on. And the fact that it'll do that, it can be present and it can actually understand life as it's happening. So whatever opportunities arise for growth for anything, it can do it in the moment. To where the mind, being afraid of all that, where does that lead? Oh my God, that's more responsibility than I want. Mm-hmm. And then on the back end, see something blossom that it could have been a part of, but it missed its opportunity. Yeah, there's a lot of insight in that. But you've also missed opportunities. So it's a good thing to understand an event after it happened, but that's not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah,
you understand?
Unless it changes your behavior.
It can change you for the next go around.
Right,
yes,
right.
Absolutely. You can change your ways for the next go around, but those opportunities, when do you decide to be so present and have the identity be so trimmed down that the presence inside of you can engage what's happening presently and see the best outcome, not just for itself,
right,
but for all of life? The best outcome. What is the best outcome here? What is the least negative thing we can do? Maybe that's where you start. But maybe your life is such a wreck and you're so afraid of change that what's the least negative thing you can do?
Yeah. What's one really bad thing you can stop doing or not engage in or somehow remove from
But
your
that's
life?
still fear.
Yeah.
It will always be fear.
Yeah.
So there's got to be at some point where you're like, take a deep breath, realize that everything you say about yourself is not true. Realize that everything you say about someone else is not necessarily true.
Right.
And that what you think about anything is not necessarily true. You may feel it to be true within yourself. That's your responsibility. No one else's. No one else's. No victims here.
Right.
No pity parties. I mean, it's like you want to go on a journey where you're going to clear out the identity and actually be in union with what's looking out of your eyeballs in a very strong way. You don't have any of that.
Shame vortexes. They suck too.
Shame vortex. Yeah, that's
It's not a good one.
No.
That can lead to suicide and all kinds of terrible shit. And for no good damn reason.
That's the
actually.
thing is people can marginalize all these things, but they really do fuck with us.
Yeah.
And it's like, stop marginalizing that, face that for what it is.
Right.
Instead of making fun of it, it's, oh yeah, last night I felt like killing myself. Ha, ha, ha. No, ha, ha, ha. No, wait a minute. Ha, ha. No, we're not going there. What the hell? Yeah, I mean, watch out for how much we embrace the more alarming things.
Yeah.
And we embrace the alarming things. How? By marginalizing them. By numbing ourselves to seeing the possibilities of things going really wrong, right? Not imagining them going wrong. Seeing where the possibility for them to go wrong is and to avoid that. That's courage. Because sometimes the real wrong way to go is the one most beneficial to you in a certain way.
Yeah.
Now, the ramifications of that benefit might not be known beforehand. That's one of those things that if you're not paying attention to. So, here's a good example. Okay. Of someone getting involved in, okay, you don't really understand what you're involved in. Some woman comes in, and as Paul Simon says, the sin of impatience says she's just what you're looking for. And you're blind to all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Right? You're not seeing what's there. You are seeing a benefit you will have by having a relationship with this person. That's all you're seeing. Right? So 3 months down the road, 3 years down the road, however, say it goes bad. And really bad. And really, really, really bad. Not only is this your significant other cheating on you, robbing you, talking shit about you, stealing from you, giving it to all those things. And now you get to see the ramifications of the benefits you sought. But you didn't see it when you were going into it. You saw it afterwards. Well, afterwards sucks because you're already damaged.
And I would also say it's all co-created too, that you've actively participated. Not
inevitably-
like some person has taken you down. It's like you've co-created a really interesting situation.
Well, yeah. And to me, that is the signal that someone's ready for real change.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of times they'll be going, how many people do we know who go from one relationship? I've seen, I've had friends in the past that, oh, you're in a relationship, 3 months. Boom, over. 2 weeks later in another one, 3 months. It gets to that 3 month mark and they can't go any further, right? Because the ramifications of the benefit have far outweighed the benefit. That there's responsibility there, that they want you to be present, accounted for, responsible, and you don't really have that in you. You just wanted to sport fuck and be gone. You know what I mean?
I have the benefit of such life experiences to know that I needed healing.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's like, well, these desires are distractions.
Yeah.
They're these little dead end roads you're going to take for a while to forget the treacherousness of this infinite path in front of you. You have no idea where it goes.
It's a different sort of numbing, and numbing can happen in all sorts of ways.
Yeah.
And addiction and all these things.
Yeah.
Human things.
Yeah. And I think it's all just designed to distract us from the fact that, there's a bigger thing going on here.
I've got a more positive take. Like it's
Good.
I deal in positivity quite heavily.
I deal with positivity.
I see them as challenges of life that are forcing us to evolve and grow bigger. Because what else can you? You're either going to crumble into a puddle or you're going to rise above it, and it's really like it's part of the evolution process of hopefully pushing us into something greater, and that sometimes we can't change until we have a big enough lever to fucking change, and that lever has to be rock bottom often.
So
Okay.
here's what I think is a giant obstacle to that
Okay.
positive path. And here it is.
All right.
What if someone doesn't like you?
That's not your responsibility.
I know it's not your responsibility, but come on, let's be real.
All right. Because I certainly have suffered from this.
Because how many people are afraid of what other people think of them?
Everybody, I would say, for the most part. And that goes back to that tribal needing to be part of a tribe, a family. If you're not part of the family, you will die. And so your amygdala in your brain says, if they don't like me, I'm going to probably die. And boy, it gets really intense when you're in a one-on-one relationship that's not going well. And then it's like, oh shit, what do I do?
Do you think society foments that fear or does something to bring order to that chaos?
Well, let's say that Instagram and Facebook aren't helping.
Nor is Tinder or
TikTok or anything
any of it. Yeah, none of it.
None of it.
But that's what we're doing.
I know.
So how in the hell is that going to reverse?
Well, one by one within ourselves, and hopefully helping each other up. And then not putting a hand down into the hole to pull them out, but offering a ladder to climb out of.
What if someone sees you in not so good of a light? Isn't that a terrifying idea? You know how many times I've had that happen to me?
Well,
and it's not that scary. To me, it's like
you've.
But I look at it differently. It's like it's an exposure.
Yes.
Right. And to me, it's like, okay, if you have fear, expose yourself to it. That's the true warrior move.
Yes, that's the true warrior move, but that's also an uncommon in our society move.
Right. And it needs to be a common thing.
Right.
I mean, if we're going to...
But not in a reckless way, not in a like, I'm going to go run traffic to show how brave I am, or even emotional traffic.
That just shows you how stupid you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't show bravery.
No.
Bravery, to me, again, courage, is being able to face chaos and seeing a way to make order out of it.
Right.
And facing all the chaos, all of it. And what's chaos? I mean, is chaos just this energetic pattern you're facing? No, you're going to face the behavior of others that are involved in it, the thoughts of others that are involved in it, the pushback you're going to get, the anger you're going to get, the bad comments you're going to get, the trolling that's going to happen, all of that. Yeah, of course.
That can be devastating.
To not expect that is stupid. Yeah. So once you expect that, it's no longer a thing to fear.
Yeah.
And it's not that you think you're better than anyone else or you're in some place they're not. It's you just begin to realize that what the people's thoughts are ultimately about how they view the world.
Yeah.
My head has really very little to do with it.
And if it's really shitty and really gross, it's usually coming from a really low place that's caused by previous life experiences that are most likely traumatic.
Yeah. And I think, a lot of, the habits built out of fear is you don't let anything get too lively. You keep it down. Like how many times have we had, we're having a lively conversation. Someone walks in, starts talking, and we just stop and listen and let them. And suddenly all the energy's on the floor and everybody's tired and feeling really like, I feel like I just got assaulted.
But you don't usually stay quiet in those situations.
I don't stay quiet in those situations. And I'm seen as this arrogant asshole because I'm like, yo, why are you putting the vibe on the floor with your stupid self-talk? Shut the fuck up. It's enough of that. It's enough out of you. Why are you... I mean, we're here trying to build up and you want to tear down.
Hey, and sometimes I'm that guy that needs that talk. So there.
But it's not like it's a thing that what really is interesting to me. It's not even really, I would say, interesting. It's curious why people would choose conflict over resolution anywhere. I mean, it's like, what do you think conflict's going to get you?
Sometimes it gets it makes them feel the higher person. If I can bring stress into this, then suddenly I'm above it and seem somewhat better. But really, being a conflict entrepreneur is a shitty way to live life.
Yeah, to me, I don't, it's like.
And it comes from pain. What else could it be?
Well, right. And I'm that guy, and I feel like I'm that guy, but, in my own estimation of myself, I'm like, I don't hold a grudge. It's not me. I mean, you can pretty much wrong me in all kinds of ways, and I'm going to see the humanity in it. I'm going to see the, broke down human aspect of things. I'm not going to, you wronged me and I'm too righteous of a person for you to do that to. It's like, and a lot of times I'll put myself in the position to be wronged because it's safer for them to wrong me than someone else, because someone else might kill them for it. And I'll see the pain place they're in. And, maybe I'll pull them in and go, yo, why are you doing that? And they'll be like, well, I'm like, no, we're not going to go through your million excuses why. And we sure aren't going to go through your justification of why. We're going to go into why you're being such an idiot. Let's look at it, and not walk away from them when the floor is pulled out. That's been my drive all along. Whether anybody understands it or not, I don't know.
No.
I want to get to the nitty gritty. And when that carpet goes out from underneath your feet, like mine did with Carlos, because we got to the nitty gritty, and man, there is no point of orientation. There's no point of safety. There's no floor under you. There's no sky above you. You're just like, what the, in a void, basically. How terrifying that is. And to have him there for me in the way that he deemed fit. Right. Not in the way that I wanted it, because what I would have wanted is give me my pacifier, a little blanket, let me smoke a fat bowl and forget all about this, Carlos, because this shit's fucking tough. And he's like, no. I'll be here with you. I'll be here in it with you as long as you'll be present in it too. And that is because, it's like, okay, we can smooth over your fears. That ain't going anywhere. They're going to come back. We can, marginalize your negative habits and say it's okay, but they're killing you. So let's get real, right? And to me, real is that rug's coming out from underneath you. And to me, that is a very vulnerable place for a person to be.
Right.
And that the courageous, if you're going to try to help someone, then your courage should be that you're going to stare into their abyss with them. But you're not going to sit there and drool into it and go numb. You're going to go, yo, Holmes, what's that? What is that?
Right.
And call them out to it and be okay with them getting angry at you first. It's, again, if you're helping something that's suffering,
coddling's not helping.
Well, yeah, this is a story I've told before, maybe not on this podcast, but, like when you're going to go help an injured somebody, whether it be emotional or not. I remember, there was one day we were driving out here in the woods and, there's ranchers that have fences up and, and some barbed wire, and this coyote had gotten stuck in barbed wire. And we pull up and you can hear it yiping, just screaming. And it's, kind of maybe 20 foot off the road, and pull over. So we get out of the car and we go up and we're going to, I'm going to try to get it out. Let's set it free. It's growling and snarling and showing its teeth. Now, with an animal, we're going to have way more compassion, which is weird to me, weird as hell. But, it's like, okay, it's okay. It's okay. To a human, you're like, well, you're going to treat me like that? Well, screw you. I'm out of here. That's not me. I wouldn't do that. I see that human in pain as much as I saw that coyote in pain. At first, it's going to growl and snarl. And as a human being reacting, it's going to be, I hate you. Stay away from me. You're such an egocentric asshole. And you fucker. Blah, just go after you. And if you can stay there and not let that deteriorate your courage to help them face the abyss, because they're staring into the abyss and reacting to it. They're reacting to all this fear and all this unknown and all this, they're not good enough, all this self-consciousness, all of it. And you're just watching. You're just there with it, right? And when it comes unglued on them, you get to be, it's like, be strong enough to be the point of sanity to help them out of the bar. So it's like with the coyote, calming down. You ready to calm down yet? Finally, that coyote realizes it's in a real pinch, and it ain't going to be able to get out itself. Finally, and it took a while. But finally, that coyote laid down, just docile as can be, grabbed its back leg, it just kind of looked up, sniffed my arm, didn't, just sniffed, laid back down. It was embarrassed. It was weird. It was like if I could humanize what I saw in that coyote, it was embarrassed for being stuck in this. Like I should have never gotten stuck in this. I'm feeling dumb, which we're afraid of that too. So the coyote kind of calms down. You get the thing off, and it gets up, shakes itself off, licks its leg. I had a little bit of a wound, but it was more just stuck than anything else. So there was some, definitely some, lesions there from the barbed wire. But they're dogs; they lick it. It's fine. They don't really get as sick as we do if that happens.
Right.
And he stands up and it kind of looks at me. I would like to imagine that it's a thank you. There was definitely that energetic thing where I felt like a gratitude space inside of myself. I mean, I was gracious that it let me because, how often you get to get that close to a coyote.
And a wild one.
And touch it.
No sort of protection whatsoever.
Yeah, but no knives, no guns, nobody standing there with a baseball bat, nothing, just no gloves, just really just sitting there. And then, when it gets up and there's this beautiful energy and off it goes. And I've had that experience with people where they, they'll be sitting there telling their, speaking their narrative to hide how afraid they are, how much pain they're actually in. And I'll go, oh, that's neat. Smash that. We're going into what's real. And, being able to be energetically kind of in touch with what that feeling is. Yeah, you can speak to it in a universal way that makes them think oh my God, you know what I'm going through. Yes, I do. Yeah. I know what you're standing in right now, and I know exactly what you're doing. Well, now they're embarrassed.
Right.
They're being seen in the trap they set for themselves. Then, so right there, it's an iffy thing. You could make the wrong move because you've got fear and the whole thing's going south and nobody's getting anything out of it. But if you can let go of the identity and let go of this personal affliction you think this person's throwing at you and realize this is just a suffering being, then you can be there for it. And that's all I've ever really wanted to do is guide people through these really dark, fucking nasty things they've got to go through. There's nobody doesn't have to go through that. It's like, well, I've had dark night of the soul. Yeah, it doesn't show on your face. You've had dimmer nights of the soul, but that true dark night of the soul, a lot of people don't live through that.
Yeah.
Most don't, actually. It's like that shit gets so dark and heavy, that unknowing, that chaos just coming at them, no way to make order out of it. And the fear of it all crushing them, their soul, their existence, putting them in hell, all that just comes in. And it could be just a fight with a friend that starts it. It doesn't take a big event for that to show up and go down. And that's a real rough place to be.
Yeah.
And don't marginalize that. Because if you marginalize it, then the courage you bring to it will not be enough to match the situation. Because you'll have the courage of an identity who's got a conceptual idea about how to deal with it. But you're dealing with the forces of life itself out of focus. That's not something you get to mentally rearrange and create a narrative and escape from. No, you have to face that head on. That energy, you're going to have to step through those veils that just annihilate what's not real about you. Right?
Yeah.
And the fear is, what if this thing that I'm so attached to is not real about me?
Yeah.
What if I'm faking all this?
Then you're unmoored from the dock and you're floating away in some place you don't know anymore.
And there's sharks in the water. And there are fucking sharks in that water. And there are fucking pterodactyls in that sky. Right? You're back to the fear.
The primal thing.
Yeah. You're back to the primal. You step out the door, saber-toothed tiger's going to eat you. Kind of a state of engaging life.
Yeah. But then you see there's not saber-toothed tigers. There's jobs and shit. And it's like, oh, well, compared to saber-toothed tiger, why am I holding the stress of saber-toothed tiger attack for a cubicle job?
Right. And it's like, so where in the human realm, because maybe it wasn't always like this. Maybe there wasn't always all this fear. But where did that ultimate smash attack on humanity happen? How long ago? How long have we been building structures just to remove the fear we feel of the inadequacies about ourselves? You know what I mean? It's like, even the systems we have, like bigger systems, it's to keep the fear away.
Is it, or is it to create it?
Well,
What do you mean? Which systems?
I mean, in order to keep fear away, it's the fearful one generating the narrative to keep fear away. So it's still fear. It's not like the fear goes away because you're afraid of the fear not going. You know what I mean? It's like this infinite kind of thing that's going to go
looping.
on. Right, looping. Yeah, and we just keep creating more and more and more. I mean, do we really need that many things?
I'm less interested in how long it's been around and where it came from as to how can we overcome, how can we transcend from it. That's more interesting to me than knowing the past,
Well,
I guess.
I think
unless
if
the solution's in the past.
Well, and if you have a species living in fear, well, then their value system's corrupt.
Well, yeah. They've been.
I mean, because of fear, again, it's misunderstanding the energies of life and perceiving them as chaos. Well, there's no understanding in that.
No, there's just reaction, not response.
Right. So, we run to those distractions. And what we fail to realize is those distractions cost you energy. They don't give you energy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, that's not well understood.
Right. We go out looking for satisfaction without realizing it's coming through you. It won't ever come at you. Mm-hmm. And even if you think it's coming at you, you're opening that valve for a second while, like when you buy a new car. Oh my God, I have a new car. Yeah. Until you've paid on it for 3 months and there's a ding on it. Now it's this big the very thing that was making you shiny is now making you nervous, tense, anxiety ridden. That, oh God, what if I can't afford this? Or you lose your job and you got that new car. Now, what is that new car to you other than it's a big goddamn burden you got to pay for every month? Right? Mm-hmm. So the very thing that you think you're going to get to improve things could be the very thing that puts you in a very bad place.
Yeah.
So the chaos is not being able to understand any of that. Mm-hmm. So through fear, we marginalize well-being. We marginalize the value of what well-being feels like, and we over-amplify the value of what well-being looks like.
Over-amplify the value of well-being?
Of what it looks like. We undervalue
what it is.
What it actually is within us.
Okay.
And we overvalue what we think it should look like.
Like the perfect life.
Right.
I've got the perfect life.
Right. That right there, anyone doing that, you are the most afraid person on the planet. The more you do that, the more fear you feel, the more anxiety you feel.
Because you'll lose it. The fear of losing it. If you think you have the perfect life.
I mean, look at these people rely, the ones that just rely on their beauty.
Hey, Isaac, can you put some wood on that fire that's even going?
It's like you take the people who use their beauty as a commodity or as a way of getting what they want. That don't last forever.
Yeah.
You get old, right? You get unwanted. So there's all, just the weird neurotic behavior about needing to be pretty. I mean, that's fear. Again, that you're not going to see me as pretty. I have no value. Right. But where's your value? So it's like this idea of what well-being is someone else valuing you. Mm. And that's so, the idea dangerous. That we took our attention and turned it into an economic thing is the wrongest thing we've probably ever done.
I think
because
so,
the attention should not be to make life more comfortable, but to make it more expansive.
Right.
Right. And nature's doing that all the time. It's expanding itself all over. Yeah, I mean, are things dying off? Yeah, but there's new species being discovered all the time.
Yeah.
So it's still expanding itself.
And we can live on this planet differently than we are now.
Much.
It's possible.
Well, yeah, we don't value well-being for what it is. We value it for what we think it is.
Right.
Right? And the fear says, well, if I value well-being for what it is, I'm extremely responsible for the way I feel. Yes, you are. And a lot of people don't. They think, when you think responsibility, I mean, a lot of people have a negative idea about that.
I did all my life.
Right.
I've had that change to where I see it as freedom now. Responsibility is freedom.
It's the ability to respond to what's in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. It's the ability to respond to how you decide to be in the world.
And I'm discovering new ways to do it. Too.
Yeah,
Shit.
what you do, you choose to be responsible for. That if you're going to put a movement in the world and it requires a response from you, that you're able to respond. Mm-hmm. Well, if you can't be, then either you're setting out a lie, a fraud, or something that's going to be like FDX. It's going to last about 3 months and then fall flat on its face because it had no integrity to begin with.
Yeah. And that's the way I hope we're going, is that integrity is elevated and lack of it is squashed. And I think it's possible.
You know what I really, this, I think that the new age spiritual communities, in a lot of ways, I think a lot of that is the ones that are going to rebel against well-being.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. I think because it's so flighty, change your name, wear some pants, wear some tight yoga pants, go do this, go do that, proclaim fifth dimension and all this energy. Meanwhile, you just know you are neglecting a whole lot doing that. There's a whole lot of things. How many people have we met who come off as these spiritually, solid people who can't even raise their own kids?
There's a few.
Right?
There is. Yeah.
How many of them do we know that I am a bodhisattva and you're a couch surfer? You can't even take care of yourself. You can't even figure out your own way of being responsible and taking care of yourself. You just sleep on one person's couch, the next person's couch, borrow this, borrow that, need this, need that, take. And all the while you're just shiny being. To me, a shiny being takes care of itself. Much like, nature. Now, that's a shiny being. Why? Because it takes care of itself. And it takes care of other things inside of it, not just itself.
That's true.
Right? And so the minute that, a lot of these spiritual communities, you come in with a different perspective than them, they are offended and you're doing it wrong. You're the patriarch. You are the toxic masculine. You're this, you're that. And it's like, what is it that you are so unsure of about your stance that you go so ape shit when I bring mine? Is mine threatening you in any way that's real? Or is it just being what it is in the room? Mm-hmm. And why do you need to react to that in such a way? Oh, this shiny being is actually full of fear.
Well, the bubble's being popped.
So a lot of that spiritual, I'm this and I'm that. Yeah, there's fear right underneath all that. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you need to run around and proclaim it to people that you're some fifth dimensional being, how does that impact your fifth dimensional being? Why does if you're a fifth dimensional being, why do you need anyone else's attention? You would think that a fifth dimensional being has the attention enough that it doesn't need it from anything else. That it can see the world clearly, see its place in it, and doesn't need anyone to notice that.
Right.
That to me, though, there's a shiny being. It's like, I'm having a spiritual experience. Get off your fucking high horse. You're having a life experience. Do you know there's a lot of people out there who claim no spirituality who have had some very profound experiences? Check this out. Here's a cool story. I've been to a lot of healers. I'm an energetic healer.
I've been to more than you.
We're going to do Reiki, and it's going to make you feel so much better. Now, I have been in a few situations where they're doing something, and there's something that they're definitely capable of, and it's astounding, and it's beautiful. That's about 2%. Mm-hmm. Most of it's just a bunch of hype, and I have to follow the narrative and invest a lot of attention in that this narrative is true, and I have to get emotional about the trueness of it all. And I have to, yay and yippee, and no. So, and nothing happens. Mm-hmm. Like there was one where I went to, and they're like, we're going to heal something on your left side. I said, I wouldn't go near that. And they put their hands, freaked the fuck out. Oh my God, what is that? I was like, I told you not to do that. It's like, you're not, this is way beyond your level here. Mm-hmm. But the most profound healer I have ever met in my life, and this dude was, this is like next level shit. The visions I was having was insane. So I knew these people down in Cortez, and there was one day where I was sitting Indian style. I got up and this knee went out, and I was on crutches. and it hurt. And I'm not a guy to go to surgery. It'll fix itself. Yeah. So I'm hobbling around. I'm pretty much it's unusable. This goes on for a couple months, and this friend of mine, Megan, at the time, her name was Megan Graywolf, this old woman, super cool. And she's like, well, we're going to take you to this guy's house. I can't remember what his name was, but it's irrelevant. And he'll help you. So we go out into the middle of Mancos, which is this town next to Cortez. We're in the Four Corners, right? We go over to this guy's house. It's a ranch type house. There's, animals out. It's like a farm. You go in, it's a mess. Yeah. You go into his office, there's just papers everywhere. But he's just a good old boy. He's not saying anything. He's just a good old boy, I'm running my cattle and, that kind of thing. With a drawl and the whole thing, cowboy hat, pretty much, just your average cowboy guy. And I'm, and here I am, kind of still young, so that new agey shit's kind of neato. And I'm looking like, who's this guy? How's he going to help me? Look at him. He's just some cowboy. He's like, all right, get up on that table. He doesn't say anything like, I'm going to put energy in. None of that. Get up on that table. And I do. I'm like, well, lay down. I'm like, all right. I lay down. He just grabs that knee. Right? And I'm like, holy shit. He's like, close your eye, close your eyes. And I close my eyes. And I'm just sitting there. And all of a sudden, I'm looking up. And I see it's him as far as I can tell, because where I'm looking, he's definitely standing, but my eyes are closed. And I see this dude standing there in golden light. He's just standing there, golden light. And he reaches for this orb, right, and pulls it in while he's got one hand on my knee and puts it in my knee, and I feel his heat go into my knee. He's not saying anything about it. He's not describing it. He's not talking about the beautiful product. None of that. Just straight out the door. Gruff. And all of a sudden he's like, hey, that's it. Done. Get up and walk. And I got up, and I'm being careful. Dude, man, walk. Will you just walk already? And I started walking, and it was fine.
Wow.
And that was it. He's like, you good? Yeah, all right. Have a nice day. We didn't sit around and talk about what a fantastic person, or what magic he has, or what dimension he's coming from, or what energy he's using. None of that. It was just as simple as, you got a wound, let's put a Band-Aid on it, kind of thing.
Like a country vet, kind of, but with energy.
No production around it.
Yeah.
No pageantry around it. Nothing. And I admired the hell out of that.
I bet.
Carlos was the same way. No pageantry around this.
No
mysticisms. None of that. God. None of this kind of act going on. Just simply, and that's why I say it's like a spiritual experience. You're having a life experience. It's just that you call it spiritual because you need it to be special. Why? Life is pretty special, all on its own, without you giving it any connotations that this is more special than that. No, it's all special. Right? Death is as special as birth. It's a special day. One's kind of more celebratory than the other, but they can both be the same thing. I think the less celebratory one should be the birth. Oh, you fucked up. You're here too.
No,
Oh, what's your life sentence for?
No.
What'd you do out there? What did you take advantage of in the universe? How did Lucifer get you? How did you fall? Well, I mean, inevitably, I find that, even the ones that have, accomplished what we might even call enlightenment, they didn't start there. They started from very rough beginnings.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, well, yeah, you can come here for a life sentence and be rehabilitated. And I think that's really what's going on. I mean, for me, the way I look at it, this is a rehabilitation clinic. It really is. No, you're not supposed to be, participating in every damn thing out there. That's gluttony, and you're in a rehab. Stop doing that, Learn how to be, what's the word? Carlos used to say to me, because I always, I like smoking weed. And I'd ask Carlos, should I stop smoking weed? Should I stop smoking weed? He's like, Cristobal, weed's not the problem. Weed is not the issue. You're the issue. I'm like, okay. He's like, weed is not a bad thing. He didn't smoke it. I mean, the only time I ever saw Carlos smoke marijuana, and I don't even know if he smoked it. I had a joint rolled, and I went to light it. He's like, here, I'll light that for you. And that was it. That's the only time I ever saw him do that. Or anything for that
I've never heard that one.
Other than the wine and the water. Yeah, and he says, Cristobal, for one, if you think you have a problem with it, just don't buy it. Just stop buying it, and then if it shows up, have it. That's one way of doing it. He's like, and understand this about life. If you sip your wine instead of gulping it, you'll be alive a lot longer to enjoy it. So understand what, and it takes courage to understand where your limits are. And to understand that as much as there's something in you that wants to push past that to be free, that thing is never going to be free. The thing is always going to be that obsessive little shit inside of you. There's times, it's like in an ayahuasca ceremony. I want another cup. I want another cup. I want another cup. It's like, unless you need it, don't do that. Just be. It's like, well, it's not enough. Well, maybe you need to tone it back as to what you think is enough. Mm-hmm. Let life itself determine what's enough for you for once. Step out of the way and stop being a glutton.
I like the recommendation of see what you're doing within yourself to do the healing,
right,
before asking for more.
Right.
Are you really
participating?
Yeah.
So. Or do you need more so you suffer? Or is this enough for you to actually engage where it's your responsibility to really get underneath this stuff and get these weird, idiosyncrasies that are causing you to crash and burn, to get those out of you? That's your responsibility. To put that on a plan is intensely ridiculous. And to me, it's like the spirit world. It's real. People are terrified of it.
Yeah.
I've seen that they are just, and then, and it takes a long time to get comfy with it, even when it starts showing itself. Mm-hmm. It's not because you don't have any say there.
Right. Control.
And the only time you're going to see it clearly is when you're okay with having no say there. Right? Before you actually acquiesce to what that whole scene is, you're determining it. So, yeah, you could really get in a really sticky situation with your determining what the spirits are saying. How is that? How is that a thing? Yeah. They're way above you. That's why they're not stuck in your problems and can help you with them, is because they're way above you in that. You better acquiesce to them and be goddamn respectful. Stop with this needing them to be a certain thing for you. That's not real.
And I think that's the theme throughout this whole thing, actually, is that point of change, that point of healing. Part of it is the humbleness. Like the coyote that was embarrassed by what it had got into, that it also had this sense of humbleness of what had just occurred.
Right.
That, oh wow, I let my enemy help me. And I was the fool. Mm-hmm. That's not so easy to live up to, but so important too. And from that, there has to be forgiveness.
Well, I
part of it,
right? And I think the only way anyone's going to actually arrive at that place is they have to be okay with being wrong.
Yeah. And how can you grow or expand or change without being wrong?
Right.
Like, if you're right now and you're going to be this right to your death, you ain't going to learn nothing more.
Right.
At all.
Yeah, and you have to, for me, it's like, I don't know, I don't come off as a humble person. But, I'm not really the kind of guy who's going to humble myself to someone whose life is a wreck. I'm not going to do that.
No. I think this is within yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Within yourself, within your own healing. You're like, oh, shit. I have to recognize that I was just being a complete dumbass. And I did that thing. And now I'm not going to try to do that thing again.
Yeah. And to me, it's like to really see the humility and all that is a courageous act.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, is that an important part of this courage is the humbleness.
Right.
Of
to
learning.
See that you didn't have it right.
Right.
And that rarely do you.
Yeah. And
when it's right, you better be paying attention.
And the other thing,
wrong is right around the corner.
The other thing that I think is important is that the path of healing is the path of maturity, and you've helped me see that too, is that healing is actually maturing and wisdom is actually maturing. Wisdom isn't being smarter. It's actually understanding simpler things to be true.
It's understanding what doesn't need to be done.
That's another way of saying it. Yes.
Right. And because wisdom leads to this state of well-being. Well, the only way it's going to do that is it shows you where you're wasting your energy, where you are just using it because you're too afraid to engage the path in front of you. So you're going to the circus on the side of you.
Yeah.
Right. And to avoid and to see that the circus doesn't have value. There's no value there. Yes, it's fun.
Ish.
Yes, fun-ish.
Ish.
Expensive.
Yes.
And
You end up with a cotton candy stomach ache.
Yeah, and when you're done at the circus, you're where you were. You still got to start from where you were afraid to move on from.
Yeah, it was a distraction that didn't take you anywhere.
Yeah, and and I think the comedy of it all is that the thing we're afraid to face, that finally when we get over the fear to face it, it's no different than what we had to face originally. Right? I put this in a way that I don't know if this actually will be congruent, but in my mind it is. So, Take a heroin junkie, right? Addicted to heroin, has a health crisis in the middle of his heroin addiction. Goes to see a doctor. Doctor says, "You really need to get off the heroin." And the heroin junkies, knows he needs to, but that 5 days of withdrawals, he goes through it one day and he's too afraid to go through it. It's too much for him to bear. So he goes back to the heroin. Does it another 20 years. Has another health scare. Goes to the doctor and the doctor says, you do that again, you're going to die. And the heroin junkie is afraid of death. Finally comes to that place where it's going to give it up. What does it have to go through? The same 5 days it would have had to go through 20 years ago. That you're not actually, by ignoring fear, ignoring what you're afraid of, ignoring the moves you need to make, don't make those moves any less problematic in the future. It just means you're not taking them. Right? And that what you're going to have to go through 20 years from now when you decide that, okay, I've had enough of this game I'm playing, I can, really look at what I'm afraid of and really live a life, then you're only going to have to go through what you had to go through then, unless you're one of those people who, through your desperation and fear, added a hell of a lot more shit to go through. But ultimately,
if you do 20 more years of heroin, you're going to have more problems.
Yeah. And I mean, and how many times
you can make that?
It's like how many times have we had people sitting there, in the midst of their experience, and say to us, I went down a really bad road. Yeah, you did. God, I wonder how long it's going to take me to get back. Well, twice as long as it took you to get there. Oh, don't say that. But it's true. That if you decide to go down a road because you're too afraid to really do what's in you to do, to get out of that jam is going to take you twice as long as it took you to get into it. Because first you got to recognize you're in it. That takes all forever. And then you got to backtrack. You got to walk out of that place. Right? And you got to walk out of that place, and all the connections you've made there are going to ask you, what the hell are you doing? Where are you going? You're losing your mind. What are you doing? All of this pushback from the people that you associate with in that bad path you took are suddenly going to become the judge of you on your way out of it. So not only do you have to walk back out of it, you have to have tomatoes thrown at you while you're doing it. So that's why it's twice as long.
Oh, and there's a way in addiction that people do the geographic where they just leave town to go to a new town because of that.
Yeah, but
that doesn't actually fix anything. It just takes away the tomatoes.
Yeah, right. You still have to sit there.
And if somebody's actually addicted to heroin, find your way to Ibogaine, somebody that does that reputably.
Yeah. Find your way to Ibogaine.
But heroin's just an example of whatever the addiction or illness is.
Right.
We've all been down past that. We'd rather have not been.
Well, and it's like we take one addiction and see that it's more of an issue than another. No, they're all issues. The issue is fear, right? And as long as we're afraid, then we're going to take an authority who's not out there for our best interest and allow them to do what they will, and we're just going to sit back and watch it. I mean, I don't know what to do about that. I mean, the way that the government's functioning and wars and, all this crazy stuff going on, I don't know how to me it's like just don't participate in it and speak truth to power as much as you can. But don't go picking up guns, don't go grab signs, don't get crazy, because you're not gonna, that's an avalanche. You're just gonna die in it.
Do what you can to protect you and your family and your friends around you as best you can.
Well, yeah. Be the rock, the foundational rock for whoever it is that And it's like, it's not even for the people, that you are absolutely in a great relationship with, necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Sometimes you're called to, provide a solid ground for someone that, hell, you don't even get along with. And I'm okay with that. I've had several people up here where, you know, they're all grumbling. What's wrong? How are we going to do this? You know, I don't like you very much. I said, well, I don't like you very much either, but we don't need to like each other for this to work.
Well, you said
Right?
that to me.
It helps. I mean, it makes the situation a little more doable, but it's not a necessity. As long as we can respect each other, we don't have to actually like get into this giddy love of each other.
Right.
I mean, you know, and a lot of times, sometimes getting too giddy and too close and too connected to somebody means you're neither one of you are doing a goddamn thing.
Right. Like you can just devolve into that love and light party that's not really a party.
Right. You know, and it's like, and I think, you know, the love and lighters, I mean, they've got to be walking around with a ton of anxiety of unfinished business inside of them.
Yeah.
Or unfinished business in the world, or unfinished business with their family, or not being able to acquire the means for the life they're living. You know, and you know, you get to that, you know, I think some, maybe not everyone's been there, but where you felt a lack and you felt like you just start taking advantage of things to get what you want without any effort on your part, or realizing what jam you're in of any kind, or how you're treating things, or how you're being, you know, a lethargic, you know, useless person, just getting what you need. That you aren't going to have anything but anxiety, because the anxiety is what one day you're going to get caught with your hand in the cookie jar, or you're going to ask for something from somebody who's giving you more than you deserved. Mm-hmm. And it's going to come to pass. Mm-hmm. And you're going to feel all the ramifications of this, being afraid to actually engage the world and take care of yourself. Mm-hmm. You know, not go off on these tangents, not need people to notice how shiny you are. Who gives a shit? So they notice how shiny you are. Do you live off their attention or your own?
That's not a good thing if you do.
Right.
Because when it crashes down, it's beyond devastating.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond.
Yeah, and I mean, it could be
and
like...
it can come crashing down quite quickly.
Yeah.
As it had for a lot of people in the last couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, I've watched it just straight up. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah. You know, you could... And it's, you know, and fear being a reaction to life, mm-hmm. right? Courage being a response to life. Mm-hmm. That identity cannot have courage.
No.
It can only have a structure it builds to keep everything in a particular place. It can't really engage that, because it's, again, you know, like the manufactured identity we talk about, it's not alive. It's your idea of how things should be. It's your idea of how this person's going to act. And yeah, I mean, sometimes it works to your, you know, that what you think is going to happen happens, and you feel really elated by that. But more often than not, there's things in there that you counted on that aren't happening. There's expectations you had that aren't being met. Mm-hmm. You know, can you still roll with the situation even though a lot of what you wanted out of it isn't happening? Mm-hmm. That there might be a value to it that you don't see.
Yeah.
Right? And to me, it's like, if you truly have courage, you can find that there are very valuable things and things that you will resist if you think about it. And that if you actually engage those things, they clear you more, to where now you're not this mess in the world trying to figure it out and being afraid of it all. Mm-hmm. You're just simply, embracing life as it's happening. And I don't necessarily need it to be exciting all the time.
No.
Matter of fact, as I get older, it's like, oh, the excitement's the enticement to move. It can really entice you into falling back asleep at the wheel again. Mm-hmm. Or, driving too whacked out to even know where you're going. Mm-hmm. So I find that, does the life inside of you actually need all this activity? The thing that's alive inside of you? I mean, how much of that activity does it actually require for it to have energetic presence, well-being, a presence in the world? Not much.
Yeah.
What it needs more is to understand the energy around itself. And as long as there's an identity telling you what it is, because it's too afraid to engage it for what it is, you got a problem. Mm-hmm. Because now you got a narrative, and that's not the world. It's yours, but you can superimpose that over whatever you want. But only over things that are going to willingly allow you to. Because there's going to be people who are going to push back, and your little imprint on their world is going to come crashing down on you. And to avoid all that, to actually come to a place where, the real demon inside of the real demon I'm dealing with is the one that pays attention to all the nasty, negative shit and foments it in life.
Keeping score.
Or, you didn't say what I wanted you to say, so you're not a good person.
Oh, dear.
I mean, there's too much
all
of
kinds of judgments you can have for yourself.
Yeah. And it's like, well, is that a bummer in the world? Only if you're afraid of it. If you see it for what it is, it's they're just too afraid to embrace what true life actually is, what the real essence of all this actually is, and how little it has to do with what you think it is, and how little it has to do with your position here, and how little you really do have to do with it. Even your own life, you don't have much say in that. You really don't. You think you do, and things can go your way. But a lot of times now you got to do things that you'd rather not do. And, that courage is sacrifice. And in those sacrifices, you're making,
sometimes that's the most beautiful turn that you didn't expect.
Yeah.
Like the hardest things are the things that make you the strongest and also can bring you the most greatest joy in life.
Well, yeah. I mean, comfort is self-serving and doesn't go anywhere beyond it making you comfortable for the moment, but it's the adversity.
It's not a way of life, but it's nice to have a day off and now.
Adversity makes you strong. And not necessarily comfort makes you weak. Too much comfort makes you weak.
Right.
Because comfort can be, rejuvenating. Right? I mean, that could be a thing. But it's adversity that actually strengthens you. It's not avoiding it.
That.
Trying to find the way to not, to me, I've said this over. I mean, you guys have all heard me say it. That, are you people pleasing? That whole process of being a people pleaser, it means you're afraid of being alone. That's all it is. It is a mask for the fear of loneliness. That's all it is. It's nothing more. Being polite when it's uncalled for, that's just being afraid of how someone's going to view us.
Why are you bringing up my demons, bro?
Bro, hey, man, they're not just yours. Everybody has them. I think a lot of people have those demons they're dealing with where, again, that being outcast who wants to be that guy. Yeah. I don't mind. To me, it's like, I kind of like the desert.
Yeah, I know. I do too, actually.
Yeah, and I kind of, it's because I don't limit myself to just interacting with humans.
Yeah.
And what the hell are you talking about? Yeah, I get it. That people are, think that's nuts, but fine, think it's nuts. I mean, I interact with Carlos on a regular basis still. Now, do I interact with him as he was on planet Earth? Well, that's not who he is. That's who I thought he was, right? But the actual presence of him, there's times we're sitting in the Amaloka and he's right there next to me. Like the time we were down in the jungle and he's you need to stop this shit going on. This is getting out of hand. All right, I guess I'm going to do something about that. Yeah, you remember that night.
I remember that.
Oh, yeah, that was intense. I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to start any beef with Brujos, but, that's just not a thing I want to get involved in.
I think we're wrapping up. We're
coming.
What's our time, Isaac?
We're at 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Oh,
okay. I wasn't sure if it was 2 or 3. It's in between.
So, these conversations are going to be loose because I don't have a notebook here.
Oh, and I'm,
I just like the energy to go where it goes. But, it's like if we're going to actually be something that we can live with, then we're going to have to remove the thing that's afraid of being that. Right? And that identity with all of its stuff, it will never have the integrity, the strength, and the confidence of what's actually alive inside of us. Right? And if we can actually understand what well-being is, which is no matter what's going on, you feel good inside of yourself and put value there, well, then you're valuing the thing that's alive inside of you. And if you value that, it will show you, because it is the most intelligent, wise aspect of ourselves, because it doesn't react to anything. It'll tell you what is what. And it'll show you where fear is. and it will take you to it and help you eradicate it.
Mm-hmm.
And it will take you, and it's not going to eradicate fear, because fear is a response from an identity that doesn't want to relinquish control. Fear of, and just let life happen, right? Just let it do its thing. Is this going to get out of hand? We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But if we roll with it and not put all these things on it and stay out, I mean, really, just keep the identity out of the way. How do we know that the way it's going to act won't have integrity? I mean, the more I have removed, the identity and its clinging and its judgments and its whatever, and just allow myself, if something wrong happens to me, like, recently things have, people have taken advantage, did things really against me. I'm not going to seek revenge. Mm-hmm. Even if they got away with the thing, right? Like, the person that tried to rob me, even if they got away with it and took everything I had, I still wouldn't seek revenge. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't even call the police. No. At all. It's like, because my well-being is not dependent on what can be taken from me. Right? If I truly have well-being, it can't be taken. Mm-hmm. Right? It's beyond possession. Right? It's an actual, like, integral force inside. And, living all these years, 53 of them anyway, I've only really cared about feeling good inside of myself. And I don't mean feeling good, yeah, party. No, I mean feeling intelligent, wise, balanced, not quick to judgment, not quick off the edge, fun, irreverent, a little wild. Actually, sometimes a lot wild, but wild in a sense that's not going to get out of control because I'm not desperate for anything. Well-being is what I value. And that well-being says to me, because it speaks, that identity is your enemy. Mm-hmm. That your thoughts, more often than not, are distractions from active presence. Mm. And that if you just flow with this active presence, it's like, oh God, but what am I going to do about rent and all that? You find that if you are honest in it with yourself, and that you really show inside that, there are rules here and I am going to follow them. It's almost like the universe presents itself to you in a different way. Life presents itself to you in a different way, to where it's like, I got to get out of this job. And why do you want to get out of this job? Because it's taking my energy and my time, and I really need to figure myself out. Well, if that's true, if that's not just something you're saying and you're going to go back to that job and forget about all you're wanting to change and just go back to your habitual states, you're dead asleep at the wheel. But if you actually stay awake with that, mm-hmm. and suffer it, the only way I can really describe is like the universe looks at that and goes, oh, you're not kidding. That's actually what you do want. All right, here's an opening. And it will provide the opening. Right. We have a friend right behind the camera who's going through that right now.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, how many times have we heard Isaac? He's our engineer. He's behind the camera. One day we're going to sit him up front.
He's our high-paid engineer.
He's a really great guy. And he's, got a lot of heart and a lot of integrity. But, there are times when, Isaac, you're coming, this job, oh my God, it's my time, it's my dignity. It's, I got to get out of it. And you never gave up wanting to get out of it, but you kept at it. And trying to see, it's like you opened your eyes to a possibility and one showed itself. Now you don't have to show up at that shitty job anymore. Did you have to sacrifice? Yeah, a few dollars. But now you have your time, you have your space, you have your place, and you get to do what you want to do. Exactly what you wanted. Right? And it's because you wanted it for well-being. Not to put a fucking another crown on another jewel in the ego's crown. And as long as we're not looking to put jewels in the crown of the ego, look at me how shiny I am. I'm going to save your life. I'm going to show you how to raise your children and be your life coach. Shit. And you stop crowning this presentation of an identity. Mm-hmm. And you actually, let the soul wear the crown. You'll find that it's a simple crown. It's not ornate in any way, but it's a potency within it that carries you from, one situation of evolution back. I mean, metaphorically, we're trying to get back to the garden. Paradise. We're trying to get back to paradise. Well, psychologically, what does that look like? Right? Internally, what does that look like? Does it look like, the mansion and the Mercedes and the smog and the... Yeah, no. Paradise to me is the wellspring of well-being inside of you that doesn't exhaust.
It's regardless of your situation. It's still
Regardless of your situation, it's still flowing through. You're still part of it. There's still integrity inside of you. And yeah, you cannot get your way and you're totally cool with it. And you know that this dark night of the soul, whether, if you've got to go through it, you can go through it. It's not going to last forever. And the quicker you get into it, the quicker you embrace it, the quicker you shake and cry and do whatever you got to do, pound the ground, scream in a hole, fucking break a window. I don't know. Whatever you got to do. Hopefully you damage your shit and no one else's. Whatever you got, and if you're going to do that, go somewhere else because your neighbors will call the police. But if you need to have a catharsis, have it.
Yeah.
If you need to lay down in fear and go fetal for a few hours, so be it. I mean, don't be so embarrassed by how that's going to look that you give up your opportunity for well-being, for your idea of other people not liking. You know what I mean? It's all that.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
Right.
And to me, everybody deserves dignity. Everybody deserves respect. You chose that life. You're living it. You're a product of it. That's your responsibility. Has nothing to do with me. And if they want out of it, try to be there for it. Because to me, that if you can help someone else out of whatever their identity and its associations with something not so pleasant is doing to them, if you can help them out of that, you've only learned more yourself. Right. And to me, it's like, okay, how can you guarantee your presence in the universe? Be helpful.
And also know you don't have to help everybody.
Right.
Because sometimes you have to walk away.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to walk away. And it's like, well, how are we going to get along in this world? Well, it's not going to be so hard. And here's why. Because as everything starts, people start to crumble. If you don't, you will be a viable thing that's necessary. You ain't going anywhere. Right?
True.
You ain't get rid of what's viable and necessary.
Yeah.
And you're not into self-destruction. You're not into destroying others. You're not into taking advantage. You're into, to me, it's like, I like a world where is it utopia? No, but everybody wins in the way they want to win. And causing no damage to anyone or anything that isn't theirs.
Right.
And what a world that could be.
And there's a gift in giving that's greater than the gift itself. So, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it shows that, hey, we're in this together.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I think I'm out of words. Are you out of words? Well, for now.
For now. Sure, man. Let's do this.
We're out of words for now. Hopefully there's some sense made in that. I mean, I said, I just enjoy doing this. Whether anyone gets anything out of it or not is
right.
It's great if they do. That's great.
Yeah.
But I'll do it anyway.
This is like our long distance car rides, but on film.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do a long distance car ride on film.
Hey, that'd be fun.
I mean, maybe next week.
Yeah, maybe. Goes to Dallas next week.
We'll get some GoPro cameras.
Hi,
How's it going?
Good.
We're almost done.
We're almost done. We're wrapping up.
Are you still on?
Yeah.
Oh.
What you doing?
I came over to say hi.
Hi, Angela.
Hello.
Well, anyway, you guys have a good night. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy this. I know I do. I hope you get something out of it. If there's any questions about any of the content of that you're hearing, I mean, if there's something that sparked you and you got a question, ask it. If you're watching this on Spotify and you have a question, I don't know how you get questions out of Spotify, but you can come over to Facebook and ask it. There's a Wide Awake in Babylon Facebook page. And I figure if there's anybody that, if you're on Facebook, you can ask me on my personal page. You can ask on the Wide Awake in Babylon page. But yeah, I'm totally down for, interacting. if you want to. You know, you might not like what I have to say, but so be that. But yeah, I mean, we can do that. So if you got a question or you want something elaborated, I have no problem doing that. All right. So, you know, that being out there, if you are watching this on Facebook, do me a favor, just because, you know,
Dead.
huh?
Your phone died.
Yeah. Okay, good.
That makes it done.
We're done.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.